Yes, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Bros Who Think Podcast. My name is Lyndon Burton, a.k.a. Young Boy DeWitz, a.k.a. the People's Champ, a.k.a. Beard Gang is in the motherfucking building. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this episode 146. Ooh, we getting close to the 150 mark. And for the 150 mark, we got something special for y'all. But joining me as always is my co-host, Mr. Doom. Doom, how you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. Can't complain. Doing well on this Wednesday night. Man, we keep alternating. Last week, Brooklyn was on. This week is you. Next week, we're going to get both y'all on. We just don't have to do it early in the day. That's all. Yeah, that's all it is to it. But shout out to my nigga B. He will be back next week. But, man, I'm super excited to do this podcast because I got some questions that I wanted to ask you. I got one that we're going to ask in the beginning and one that we're going to ask at the end. But before we get into any of that, bro, this quarantine shit looking worse and worse as we keep pushing along. And we said this a month ago. We said Dr. Fauci said we weren't going to have no concerts, no public events till 2021 fall. And it's looking that way, bro. I was talking to somebody today, some older gentleman. He was like, oh, yeah, I think we're going to have football with people in the stands. I was like, nigga, what? He said, I saw on Facebook, he was like, instead of having 80,000, they're going to have 15,000. There's going to be people spread out. I was like, nigga, do you not understand that there's supposed to be a max limit of like 50 people in a spot? And mind you, a football game, you have 50 people just on one team, let alone the coaches. Like, I don't know how football about to happen.
I mean, hopefully they do something though, because we need sports.
Yeah,
I know MLB said they down to keep playing too.
We're going to see, and that's, we talk about this a little later in Bros Who Ball with, shout out to Charles from the Primetime Pod. He's on this episode, and we redraft the 2017 NFL draft and the 2015 NBA draft. And he was just talking about what he's been hearing. He don't think we're going to have college football and college basketball at all. He thinks we might have NFL, a little bit of NBA season. If not, it's going to start back in Christmas, and then maybe some MLB. But the thing is the NBA has smaller teams, but it has more contact. Whereas the MLB, if the MLB happens, we can start to see other teams because in the MLB, you don't have to really touch to or be close to around people sweating and shit. Right. Where football and basketball, that's full contact.
Yeah, I don't know. It's going to be interesting because I kind of want to know what it would mean for the like student athletes. It's not like they can get those years back.
But I think the NCAA already said for everybody who missed the tournament last time and everything, they're going to give them their eligibility. So I assume if they don't play this season, you're going to not only get last year's eligibility, but this year's. Like for basketball, at least. For football, you'll just get this year's because football season, you had everything happen last year. But in terms of basketball, I think you're going to get 2 years of eligibility. But I don't know how that helps people who are like who's like 23. Like, they needed this season to go to the league.
You lose 2 years of your age. You know what I mean? Which even if they still go pro, they 2 years older than what they would have been.
Yep, and it's like, you know how the NBA is to where it's like they want one and dones. They want you as young as possible so they can groom you up.
Right.
They don't really want to take 24, 23, 25-year-olds anymore. You got to be 19, 18, 20, maybe 21 at the max.
Yeah, and then even that's old as a prospect. You know what I mean? For
an NBA player to be 21 coming out of college, you're kind of old. Like before that was young. Now it's like, nigga, you are super, super old. So we're gonna see how that goes. But the first question I wanted to ask you, because I don't know what this came to me in a dream, and I dreamed we was talking about this shit, and I don't even know why this came out. But my first question to start the pod off is, have you ever had a paranormal experience, whether with ghosts, ghouls, whatever that may be, or aliens? Have you ever had some sort of paranormal experience? I got one.
But I think it's because I don't believe. But I know a lot of people who I deem to be smart people. They say that they have. So
I have. I so look, let me tell you. I was in my old house, my mom and them old house. It was, and the thing is, they said they weren't sure if it was on an Indian burial ground or whatever. I don't know if the cops was fucking with me or whatever. But so I was in my mom and them room because they had the big ass screen TV and they had like a little extra bed on the ground. And I don't know why they had this at the time, but I was on the little extra bed because my mom and them had the big ass screen TV. I was being a creep ass nigga watching porn on a flat screen TV in a little extra bed. Nigga was beating his meat. And while I'm doing this, all of a sudden I think I see this black shaded creature. I can't describe. It was like this hooded black creature. I'm looking at the side of my eye. It's looking at me. I'm gonna keep fapping. Whatever, nigga. Fuck this shit. I don't know what that shit is. I'm done fapping. As I'm getting close to the bus, I see this thing get closer to me, and I get up, and I just take off running towards the shit. The shit starts running that way, and in my mama's house, you go out her room, you go to the hall towards my room. It went towards my room, and I went outside. Nigga, I called the cops come search nothing, didn't see shit. Bro, I swear with everything in me that hooded figure was 100% staring at me, and I was like, what the fuck is happening?
That's crazy, bro.
Straight paranormal experience. That's like,
wild, bro.
I can't, like, niggas don't believe me. The cops came now. They was like, bro, is your house built on an Indian burial ground? And other cops was like, I think so. And them niggas was just clowning. And I was like, nah, bro, y'all don't understand.
They probably was trolling you. Nah, but I know a lot of people that say they have, bro. They really do. Like, they firmly believe that shit. You know what I mean? So maybe I was just lucky or unlucky. I don't know.
No, that's lucky you don't have that. Nigga, that shit is scary.
Yeah.
Because, bro, I swear I was
younger. But some people, like, they got, like, good experiences. Like, this chick I used to work with, she swore to God that she saw her grandmother who had passed, and, like, she was in the crib. You know what I mean? Like, she thought it was, like, in the flesh type shit. Like, it wasn't, you know, some people say they'll see certain shit moving and be like, oh, that's such and such. Yeah. But she was like, nah, I saw her in the flesh. You know what I mean? She said she had, like, went downstairs in the middle of the night or some shit, like 2 a.m., and she just saw her grandma chilling in her living room.
See, that's crazy, man. And that could be the grandmother was trying to get a message out. Who knows what that is? Yeah, that's nuts.
That's wild, bro.
Bro, I believe in that shit. Like, there's too many people that didn't had that experience and they were sober and, like, cognizant people. Like you said, some of the smartest people. That shit gotta be real. Like, yeah. And it's like you said, I feel like the more you believe in it, the more you're accustomed to it. And the less you believe in it, the less you're accustomed to it. I believe in it enough to where them shits don't happen to me all the time, but, like, it didn't happen. You know what I mean? Like, I ain't trying to have that shit happen all the time. Because I swear I was in high school, because I was going to girls' houses without their parents there. And it was me, a dude, and 2 chicks, and like maybe like another dude. And the chick was like, at who house it was, she was like, oh, let's mess with this Ouija board I got. I said, nope, this white people shit. And I walked out the room. They started messing with the Ouija board. I was downstairs. I swear the light started flickering. I was like, oh, I'm leaving. Like, I didn't even stay. Crazy. I told my niggas, I said, peace, I'm outie. And I went to the CC's in River Ranch, and them two niggas came at me, and it was like, bro, this shit was wild. I was like, see? That's white people shit. Y'all shouldn't have stayed for that shit. Y'all crazy.
See, I guess I take it back. I guess I do believe in it a little bit, because that's one thing I won't fuck with, bro. I've never fucked with a Ouija board. The one time I ever came across some people fucking with it, same reaction, bro. I was like, nope, I'm good.
I'm outie. I do not fuck with that. Bro. Like, because it was me, a black dude, a white dude, 2 white girls, and maybe another white dude. And I told them, I was like, bro, this is white people shit. I'm out of here. I'm out. Yep. And my white friends was like, nah, man, let's see what happened. They might talk to us. I was like, they could talk to you. They're not talking to me. Like, what if y'all, bro, if that shit is real, what if you summon some big-ass demon that just want to butt rape you? Like, nah, nigga, fuck that, bro.
And, bro, what's crazy is they say, like, once you open a door to that
kind of close
shit,
it.
You, like, forever in that little zone. I can't, I'm good.
No, I'm good. I sleep too well at night. Like, I ain't trying to fuck with that.
Fact.
I'm not trying to fuck up my sleep. Fuck that. Niggas be clown. And, like, I don't know why you do that on your free will. Like, oh, yeah, let's just mess with this little... No, I'm good on all of that. But that was just one of the questions I want to ask you. But we got a lot of new music. Let's start off with the new Party Next Door with Trippie Redd. I love this song. I felt like this song was needed, and it felt good coming after the album. It's called Excitement, Trippie Redd and Party Next Door. What you thought? You ain't fuck with it?
I fucked with it. Like, it was one of those, when I heard who was on the song, it was an odd pair. Mm-hmm. So I was real nervous going into it. So I think because my expectations was low and it actually was a decent song, I was like, yo, I could fuck with this. Now, it wasn't like, you know, the next smash or nothing.
Oh,
like
yeah.
that,
No, it wasn't a top 10 hit. It was just
hard.
a good song.
I fuck with it.
Yep, I agree with that.
And like you said, coming off the album, I think that sound is like, all right, if you leaned into experiment with that kind of sound, I could fuck with it. I could see that being a good little shit for him.
And I think the way him and Trippy's voices just melded, it just worked really well. And I was really happy for Party on that. But somebody I wasn't happy for, and I feel like you like this project, and I'm gonna just keep a spade, bro. High Off Life for Future, it might have like 5 to 6 good songs. It's 21 songs deep, including a Life is Good remix and Life is Good. Bro, Future has not put out a quality, like, okay, and when I say this, I mean like A tier, like A plus, like A from 100 to like 90. That was the DS2 Beast Mode 56 Nice Monster. Now, whether you feel like Purple Rain is a B, or the one with Hendrix is a B, or Future, I'm not gonna argue with that. But I just don't think he's put out the like I think he's past his peak, is what I'm trying to say. And this High Off Life, it was good, but it just wasn't. I'm tired of hearing the same old Future sounds, and I'm over it at this point.
Yeah, and I can see that. Like, I do agree with that it sounds like the usual Future. So that's on the album, is that it was nothing new. He didn't progress at all with the album. But the songs that he did give us, I think, was fire, bro. Like, I fuck with it. Like, because his last project, the one before this, wasn't it. You know what I mean? To me, it wasn't it. Even his past couple projects, I want to say. Because he had the album he dropped before this one, and then he had like a collab project with Juice WRLD.
Oh yeah, he did. I not even count that. That shit was not good.
Yeah, it was trash. And I thought that was gonna be heat, bro. Cause that was like at Juice WRLD peak. You know what I mean? So I was like, yo, this about to go hard. And he let me down with that shit. And I think one of the reasons it was trash was because of Future. Like, he just didn't deliver. You know what I mean? So
like, Save Me to he had Save Me, which I didn't fuck with. The Wizard, I didn't fuck with. Future and Juice WRLD, I didn't fuck with. Beast Mode 2, I didn't fuck with. And you're a Young Thug fan, so you probably fucked with Super Slimy because of Thug, but I ain't fuck with that shit. Hendrix and Future was decent.
Yeah, and I didn't fuck with Super Slimy. The only reason I think that's a good album is because Kill Before was on that album, and that was my shit.
See,
I wore that shit out.
But that's a Thug, but you fuck with it because of Thug, though. Yeah,
and that was Thug was the only one on that song. Like, Future wasn't even on that one. So
see,
I definitely I won't argue you on the Future point, but I like this new project. Like, he was in his Future bag.
See, I like Solitaire. I like the song with Travis. I like the Young Boy did his thing. I fuck with the one with Young Thug. The Lil Uzi song is straight. I even fuck with the Lil Durk song, but that's 5. We got 20. Like, why did he put 21 songs on this bitch? That's too fucking many.
It's the streaming shit. They just try to run the numbers up. And it worked.
Too many, bro.
It worked,
Jesus. Bro. The only reason why he went gold is because of Life is Good. Like, let's call it spade a spade. If he didn't have Life is Good on there, I don't know if this project sells as many numbers as it sells.
Yeah. No, definitely not. If Life is Good wasn't on there, it wouldn't have charted like that. You know what I mean?
No. But it might have did 50,000 sold.
Because the majority's opinion matches yours, though. Like, they looking for something different from Future. And I think as far as, like, if we don't get something that's, like, progressive with Future, that's never going to happen.
He should have just do an R&B project.
That would be hard. If he did that, that would be hard.
Like, just
straight up. If he gave us just all R&B. But he kind of did that with the Future and the Hendrix shit. Like, when he did that double album thing.
And that's the last
Hendrix
good one.
Was supposed to be, that was supposed to be like his R&B side, like all the 80s type music.
He don't even like go into his R&B bag heavy, because like if he would, to me the best Future song to this day is Codeine Crazy. That song is fucking nuts. The way he sang on that he could still keep his street stuff and everything, but just give us that street R&B, Codeine Crazy. Give us 7 songs of that, and I guarantee that shit would be a smash.
Hell yeah.
So I it's just this project for me gets a C. A straight up
C.
A C. I gotta be honest.
Well,
a C.
I won't disagree with the C, but I'll go just because I was going into it, looking at it from what I expect for future. I give him a B plus. Wasn't like a A, you know what I mean? But it was up there. It was. See,
I ain't mad at that because I had I gotta stop having certain expectations for certain artists. But see, Future to me had the respect of I should have high expectations for you. Whereas before I didn't have those expectations. So when I heard 56 Nights, Beats Mode, Monster, DS2, I was like, this shit is fire, no expectations. But after that, you gotta have expectations because it's like you put out 4 projects in a row that's super smash. I can't go with these low expectations because if I do, you'll never progress past the bar that you set for yourself.
Yeah, which that's his only problem. I think, like, for me, the reason why that album hit differently is because I don't group them into the tier of niggas that most people do. Like, I think because Future been in the game for so long, they try to hold him to that top tier level, like where he should be with the Drakes and the Coles and shit.
I keep him in that Meek, the Meek Wale, the beat, the trap. Yeah, that's why I put him. Yeah. But he don't live up to that.
He
like
not
in
there.
a C tier.
He in the same. Yeah, he in the same tier with like the Gunners and the Lil Babies to me.
And
like,
he should have been past that up.
Yeah, he should have. He should have. That I agree with. But because I look at his music on that level, I don't think the album delivered because that was better than anything that Gunna put out. That was better than anything that Lil Baby put out to me. And I know niggas gonna probably kill me for saying that. That's kind of a hot take.
You think it was better than the Lil Baby album that dropped this year?
Yeah, I think so.
I don't know.
Because Lil Baby don't do it for me. Lil Baby is just one of those, like, those trap auto-tune niggas. Like, he say little fire shit and he talk greasy because he gangster and he could, but the music don't be that good to me. He got the same complaints I have with Uzi shit. It's like, it's just that I get a bunch of beats from the same producer, hop in the studio and freestyle over these cold ass beats. And like, it sound good, but at some point, are you gonna tell me something and are you gonna progress with your music? You know what I mean? And I don't think none of them niggas do that. And that's why I group Future.
Okay, I was about to say, at least you said that last part, because that, what you just described is 100% Future's career. Like 1,000%.
Yeah, that's,
Look, man, that's why it's just like, ooh, that, and shout out to Julian, but me and him got an argument on Twitter. He was like, you ain't listened to that album enough to understand what Future. I was like, bro, Future not saying shit. I listened to that album twice, and I don't have to listen to that album no more, bro. Like, because the way I do it is when new shit drop on Fridays, I listen at midnight. You already know. The moment it drop, I'm cranking that shit up, doing my thug thizzle, getting in a vibe, let that shit play. And then depending on how I feel, even if I don't like it the first day, the next day when I wake up, when I'm in a different, it's a bright outside, it's sunny, like different state of mind in that night. I see if it rock during the daytime. And if that shit don't rock in day or night, I know it's not the one. And that's just how I felt about that Future shit. But I'm not mad at nobody who fuck with it. Because like I said, it got 7 to 6 quality songs on it. But it's just, all them beats sound the same. It's 21 songs. And it's like, if you'd have made this 10, we might have a whole different conversation.
Yeah. But they do it just for the streaming, bro. And I think he knew Life is Good was doing what it was doing. He was like, let's hurry up, get the project out, which was all part of his plan. You know what I mean? Like, a lot of these niggas only make music for numbers. Like, they not sitting there planning out, like, how can I make a great album? How can I make a everlasting album? Like, something that'll still rock 10 years from now. Like, that's not their goal anymore. They're just trying to get the plaques. And
I feel like that's a detriment to rap right now, though, man. Because, like,
it is.
Many people, do we not remember the like, I know black people might not be fully knowledgeable in this because it's not our genre, but that's what happened to rock, and that's why rock became a downfall, because it was a bunch of people that was just putting out quote-unquote pop rock and just trying to chase a bag, and that's why rock fell so far, because it was just a bunch of generic, same old shit. And I don't want to see rap go down that hole, but I don't know if it will, because hip-hop is kind of what pop culture is, and it would need another form of music that would come in and really dominate the culture. And I don't know if something's going to do that.
Well, I think all it's gonna take is for another genre to kind of get to the point to where people don't really pay attention to it in mainstream no more. Which I kind of feel like I can't tell you the last time I heard a rock song, like a new rock song.
It's been a minute.
You know what I mean? Like I think rock will make its way back. Like it'll be just like with anything else. History will repeat itself. You know what I mean? Like they're gonna have a bunch of niggas that start making rock music again, and they got that real vibe,
that real grimy rock.
When you listen to it, like yo, they trying to bring the real music back. You know what I mean? And then people gonna kind of gravitate to that. The only thing that I think might save rap is that I feel like right now, especially, Black culture just kind of running mainstream media, period.
And that's that's my thing.
Not even just music. I just mean period. Like black
all across the board.
Shit.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So we might be safe as far as that.
I think R&B might make a big boom because honestly, the R&B is putting out the best music out right now.
For sure. Like, honestly, bro, that's the only thing I listen to right now.
I ain't mad at you for
that.
I'll go
because I went and checked out the Future project, decided that I really liked it. And to be honest, I maybe went back to it 4 or 5 times for a couple of the songs that I really liked. But besides that, bro, I'm still jamming Brent Faiyaz's album. I'm still on that heavy.
Real.
You know what I mean? I'm still on Summer Walker album. And like, them shit's been out for a minute. And I would be lying if I said that I've done that with any album in a long time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The only rap album I did that with is Tory New Toronto 3 because that actually has real bars on it.
Yeah.
Like, real
And
bars.
I feel like the album went together well. It didn't sound like, let me take a bunch of songs that I think is hot and put them on the same project. Like,
just
he put the whole project was it was meant to go together how it went. You know what I mean? And that's why I fuck with Tory shit. And that is a project I went back to more than once.
That's the only rap one I'm coming back to, and I'm so happy he put out that Temperature. Ever since he got out the deal, Tory ain't missed yet, bro. Tory has not missed since he got out that deal from New Toronto 3. If you started at Chicks Tape 5, this Temperature Rising song is if people were outside, that could be a number one. Like, that shit is
hard,
amazing.
Bro. Hard. He on a new level, bro. I really think he about to push niggas to really have to get on their shit. Because he not just I'm going to put auto-tune on and back with the little basic flow. Like, he be coming, like, when he rapping, he going crazy.
Facts.
His R&B, going crazy.
Facts.
You know what I mean? Like, I think he really putting pressure on niggas in a good way. You know what I mean? I think he
is officially in that B tier. He is coming for that.
Oh, yeah.
It's him and Travis Scott that's pushing the new generation. They're the leaders of it, officially.
And honestly, bro, I think it might be time to start comparing him to A tier. Because if I look at the other B tier niggas, outside of Travis, nobody fucking with him in that B tier. Nobody.
That's true. I ain't mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all.
The only people that you could say doing better than Tory right now would be the Drakes and the Kendricks and the Coles. And like we discussed on prior pods, like if Drake and Kendrick kind of stepping back and Cole stepping back, that leave the A tier wide open.
Wide open.
You know what I mean?
And that's Travis and Tory's spot to take.
That's a fact.
And it's just like, man, what happened to Chance? What happened to Bryson Tiller? What happened to bro, Bryson Tiller let me down so hard, bro. Set It Up wasn't even bad of a project, but it's just like, bro, you released all those Lucy's last year and you make people think you about to drop an album. No, I'm just chilling with my daughter. Well, I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that, but like, don't make it seem like you about to drop when you know damn well you're not.
Yeah. And after you dropped a legendary project like Trap Soul.
And then
you can't be one of those artists that disappear. You know what I mean? Like a nigga who drops something like that, he just can't be one of those niggas that take a step back. Even though I do respect the get your bag and focus on your family thing, I respect the fuck out of that. But you not just one of those niggas that came in the game to get a bag. Like, you really was on some legendary shit.
Especially, you can't do that, especially after when you drop your legendary project, Set It Off right after, and then just disappear. Like, if you'd have did Trap Soul and disappear, that's a little different. But you drop Trap Soul, then some trash, and then disappeared. It's like...
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, what are you doing?
I respect it, bro. I mean, if he trying to, you know, spend more time now that he made it to be with his family and do other shit, like I respect that. But it's like he could have been something serious. Like we was looking at somebody who would have been like
he would have been A tier.
Yeah.
He would have been
any one of those A tier R&B niggas, he would have been up there. You know what I mean?
And everybody just passed him up. Like I don't know if Bryson comes back. This is a question I got for you, because if Bryson comes back, does he get the same reception that he has?
I think so. I think we living in an age where it's like you can take breaks like that and still come back and be just as effective, because people still keep it live on Twitter. Like I see people talking about Bryson Tiller shit still to this day. Facts. On Twitter, Instagram and shit. They'll post his songs and shit. Like, niggas still listening to Don't, like that shit just came out.
That's true.
You know what I mean? And I'm one of them niggas. I was just jamming the other day. You know what I mean?
I jam Exchange quite often.
Yeah.
That's
that shit, bro. He really went crazy. Like, I feel like when you somebody of that caliber and you put out a project like that, we're going to be checking for you, regardless. You know what I mean?
Now, another thing is, do you think he emptied his clip to like he put all his smashes on one project and now he don't have nothing to do, like the Fetty Wap approach, where Fetty Wap dropped 7 smashes and now Fetty Wap is in obscurity?
See, the difference with that is I think Fetty was one of those niggas, he had like that specific box that he was in. All his songs was the same melody, same little catchy party radio song, and that was the only bag he had.
Yeah.
With Bryson, I don't think that's the case. Like, I think Bryson is still talented. I just think maybe when the success came, he had less of a reason to, you know, give his all in the project. You know what I mean? Because when you grinding, and I know he saw the traction coming before Trap Soul, and he was like, all right, this the one, I'm about to make it. You know what I mean? And he put everything he had in the Trap Soul. I think now that he don't have that kind of pressure of, like, I need to go crazy.
My family eating. Yeah.
Yeah, the effort is kind of not there.
No,
but
I think believe it.
Niggas like Bryson, they always, like, if he do decide to get back into the studio, as long as he come with, you know, some writers that's ready to write and the right producers, he can drop another, it might not be another track, but he can drop another really good project. I don't think he gonna have the effect like old boy. I can't remember his name. Yeah. You just said it. Fetty Wap. There you go.
That's fucked up.
But that proved my point, though.
I get it.
He one of them niggas.
We got a question in from one of our listeners, Ian. Ian asked, now that enough time has passed, how do we feel about the Weeknd versus Party debate? And I still feel the same. Actually, I feel it even more. I like Party Mobile way more than that Weeknd album. I don't touch that Weeknd album.
And that's tough, bro, because like we was just saying, I'm an R&B nigga. So that's like all that's in my rotation. And I kind of got like what I do is when those type of albums drop, like the highly anticipated ones, I'll sit with that one project for like a week. And I'll save songs that I like
that you fuck with
from the project. And I'll make like a little playlist of like all the shit that dropped from those projects. I'll keep it a beat and say that Party had more songs from his album that made it playlist. But when I go back and listen to the album just as a whole, like I like the Weeknd's more. It's just not, I don't know how to explain it. It's not really, I'm not really in the vibe for that all the time. Because, you know, it sounded real retro and shit.
Yeah.
Poppy. Like, that's not really my bag all the time. I feel like Party got more replayability. So if we judging it on that, then yeah, Party won the battle. But I think just overall, who had the better, more polished album, I gotta go Weeknd.
That's interesting. See, replayability plays into that for me though. I'm going Party, man. Like, Ian, you got one of us saying Weeknd, you got one of us saying Party. That's just how it is. That Party project just is in rotation. Like I said, I don't know the last time I played one of them Weeknd songs on my shit.
Bro, I always go back to that intro song. I keep forgetting the name.
That is hard, though.
That first song, that shit was hard, bro.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite Weeknd songs. And I'm including all the like the trilogy era shit. Like that's one of my favorite Weeknd songs.
I ain't mad at that. But let me say this. I know you didn't listen to it, but another project that came out that I want to shine light on is Impotence by Terrence Martin. If you are an R&B fan, this is no auto-tune. This is 100% soulful music. Terrence Martin did his thing. That EP is fire. But, bro, you know who EP didn't live up to my expectations? Roy Woods.
Oh, shit. I didn't even hear it. I heard it was garbage. Yeah. So I was trying to get to it, but I seen Twitter killing them for it, so I didn't really, I wasn't rushing to it. I heard it was pretty bad. Bro, I had so much high expectations for Roy Woods. I feel like Roy Woods don't know who he trying to be. Roy Woods trying to be a trapper when he should just be this singing nigga. That's all he should do. He just trying to be too many. He been struggling with that since early in his career, though. Like, I feel like his sound always emulated other people. You know what I mean?
Out of all the OVO artists, like, for example, Party, we knew Party was going to be good no matter what. Division has his own sound. Division is amazing. Even Majid Jordan, if you ask me who is my I think I like Majid Jordan more than Division. Like 150%. And I love crazy. Division. Like, I love Division. But something about Majid Jordan, the way they do 80s with 90s, like all they different eras that they be fusing, something about Majid Jordan I super fucks with. But like you said, Roy Woods coming out the jump, he didn't know what he wanted to be. And like, I feel like that hurt him. And I don't think Drake, because that's not Drake's place, because as we know, 40 is the one who runs the label more so than Drake. 40 and Oliver, I don't know if they helping that nigga. Like, Roy Woods is just out there just throwing darts at a board and nothing sticking.
And that's what me is because most artists, like when they're a new artist, most of them struggle with that. Like if you go and listen to even Drake, bro, like if you listen to his early shit, I feel like he struggled to find what his sound was. Facts. You know what I mean? But as the projects came, like I say, Take Care was like that first album where it solidified, okay, this is Drake's sound. Facts. And since like every project going forward, you knew what sound to expect. And it's just growth. Most artists figure it out between project 2 or 3. Bro, Roy Woods been in the game for so long, and he still never, you know what I mean? Like, he been in the game for a minute. Like, I feel like somebody should be helping him out with that shit. Like, he should have found the producer he met with the writers that help him out. You know what I mean? I don't know what's going on. But I never heard the project. I don't want to sound like I'm shitting on him. So.
Roy Woods has 1, 2, 3, let me see, 3, 4 4 projects. 2 of them are EPs, 2 of them are albums, and he still don't have his song. After 4 projects, bro, if you don't have it done down by 4, it's time for me when I hang up your jersey and it's like I'm not putting that jersey on no more. That shit over with.
Yeah.
Like I ain't wearing that shit no more. Like it's just it's over with for you, Roy. Sorry, but like that's just how it is. But that's all the music I had to discuss and say. We will be premiering 2 songs on the podcast today, one at the beginning and one at the end. And before we get to Bros Who Ball, but we still got a lot of things to cover. Just want to throw this out while we're talking about music. We will be premiering a song by Rap Bomb. It is called Jimmy Jeans, and there's a lot of features on it. I'm sorry if I didn't say all your features names, but I will say it before the song starts. Jimmy Jeans will be before Bros Who Ball, and at the end of the pod, we're premiering one of Chris's songs called Up Next off the Weeb God Up Next by Krista SJE. So that'll be at the end, and we got a Rap Bomb song, which is the world premiere before Bros Who Ball. But let's talk about something, because I see a lot of podcasters trying to predict how the podcasting landscape gonna go, and they've been taking old takes from us, dude. We predicted this months ago. Well, that's Bill Simmons got picked up by Spotify. Now Spotify has picked up another giant in the podcasting game. They picked up Joe Rogan and his entire platform. Joe Rogan will no longer come September. There will be no more September 1st. Joe Rogan's podcast will no longer be on YouTube, will no longer be on Apple. He signed a $100 million or $100+ million deal with Spotify, to where now Spotify not only has The Ringer exclusively, but they have Joe Rogan exclusively. Before we talk about how this affects Joe Budden, I feel this is Spotify is now the titan of podcasts.
Yeah, that's a fact. That is a fact. Like, who else is there? Like, is there anything on Apple Podcasts that's hard?
Barstool,
like even
that's
work.
it.
Okay.
But see, Barstool has a whole channel. Like, they're on Sirius XM radio. That's the thing.
Yeah.
But
I think everybody can agree, like, regardless of what podcast you're a fan of, you can agree that the number one podcast is Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel like everybody at some point, you got to tune in, even if you're not a fan of Joe Rogan. Like, just the fact, like when he dropped this recent Elon Musk interview, everybody watched that shit.
Fact.
You know what I mean?
Elon
like, it's just one of those things, bro. Yeah. It's just one of those things, bro. Which is crazy, by the way.
I'm wondering.
It's so wild to me that we live in a time where, like, the big dogs in tech, like a big tech CEO, can just hop on a podcast, be chilling, shooting the shit, smoking weed and shit. We living in some crazy times, bro.
Oh, everything's a talk show. And I'm wondering if this is a question, like, will the Charlemagne's podcast, like Loudspeaker Network, will they sign in a full agreement deal with Spotify where you have the Read, you have Brilliant Idiots, you got the Flagrant 2 niggas. Like, will they end up going over there? That's going to be something to see.
I think they're going to have to end up going somewhere. Like, I think that's the new play. You know what I mean? Like, the same way TV networks will pick up TV shows, or like Netflix will re-up for a new season of a hot show. Like, this is what we're going to start seeing in the podcast landscape. It's not just something that, people do on the cool no more. Like, I think this is honestly where mainstream media is.
No, I agree with that.
Like, I feel like more people get their news from podcasts than they do CNN or Fox News.
It's either podcasts or YouTube videos. It's going to be interesting to see what Apple does to kind of go against the grain against this Spotify stuff, because honestly, I only use Spotify to listen to podcasts because it's so simple. They don't have the spot, and that's one thing I got to give them. Where with music, you got to pay for the service to where you can not have a random order of like on Spotify, if you don't pay for it and you go click on an album, it'll just play a random song.
Yeah,
you just gotta
it shuffle it. Yeah.
Whereas with
podcasts, they play the shit you want to listen to.
Exactly, that should be fucking with me. Whereas podcasts, you just go in and click it and play, and it's good. It's gonna be interesting to see how Apple moves from this. But the real question is, what will the other Joe do? Joe Budden, because he was Spotify's first exclusive. They have Jamel Hill, they have The Ringer, they have Joe Rogan. I think even with those three titans, if you lose Joe Budden, your whole grandiose plan of making this the empire, I think you lose a little something. And I don't know if I'll say this: Budden could re-up with Spotify, but for him to re-up, he got to make at least $100 million. I don't know what Rory and Maul gonna make, but at least his contract has to equal, if not Joe Rogan's, damn near close.
Yeah, it gotta be close. Now, honestly, just from listening to his pod, like being a long listener, I've been listening for a while now. I think Joe, he's gonna think that he's equal to Rogan.
Fact.
You know what I mean?
Facto.
I don't think that's the case.
They was talking shit on Rogan today.
I think his audience is not near as broad. You know what I mean? Like Joe Budden, I feel like if you are a hip hop fan, or if you're just a fan of hip hop culture, you listen to Joe Budden. You know what I mean? But Joe Rogan, bro, I really feel like anybody you talk to, you can be like, hey, you seen that Joe Rogan interview? You seen the one with Elon? And they'll be like, yeah, what's that? You know what I mean? Anybody. Like, it's almost as if like it's TV. You know what I mean?
I'm gonna go back on you, because I think if you're a podcast listener or watcher, what you said is accurate. But I think in terms of if you're not a podcast listener, I think it goes in terms of the racial lines. I think if you're not a podcast listener and you're black, you don't know what the fuck the Joe Rogan podcast is. But you know what Joe Budden podcast is. Now, if you're white and you're not really a podcast listener, you know who Joe Rogan is and not Joe Budden. I think Joe Budden's pod is not as big as Joe Rogan's, but I think in terms of the black community, Joe Budden is the biggest podcast out there. the biggest.
Yeah, for sure. That's without a doubt. Without a doubt. If we talking the black demographic, you want Joe Budden. That's where if you're a one of these big PSPs, whether it's Spotify, Apple, Tidal, whoever, if you're trying to lock down the black demographic, you want Joe Budden. You know what I mean? He's the only one.
And I think if you're Spotify, Joe Budden was your first. You can't lose that because Joe Budden does Diamond on a weekly basis. That's insane. He does 5 million plus viewers on a weekly basis, not just with one pod. Like he does 5 million on one pod, and he has another one coming on Saturday that he does another 5 million to. It's just nuts the numbers he gives you. I agree. He has to make as much, and maybe not as much, but damn near close to Joe Rogan. But he got to make more than Bill Simmons. Like 100%, he got to make more than Bill Simmons.
For sure, yeah. They can't play him like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think they need to do whatever they got to do to keep him. Joe Budden.
I agree.
Whatever price tag he says, yo, this is what I need, you got to give it to him. Because right now, bro, they like you said, they the type of the podcast industry. Like, there's nobody fucking with them. And they literally they monopolized it. There's nobody that can fuck with them.
If you keep Joe, you best believe I'm canceling. If I'm Spotify and you keep Joe and you have Joe Budden, Joe Rogan, and Bill Simmons, you best believe if I'm the Spotify CEO, all this free podcast listening, that's over with. You got to get a premium to Spotify. And if you keep him, then you can do that, and you can. Whereas my ass gonna have to start paying for Spotify, and all these other people have to start paying for Spotify because there's be nowhere else I can listen to the Joe Rogan pod or to the Ringer or the Joe Budden, especially since in the article Spotify is about to do vodcast, so you won't even have to. Joe Rogan and Joe Budden in the Ringer won't be able to put their shit on YouTube anymore. You'll have to watch if you want to watch it. It's gonna be on Spotify. So if I'm Spotify,
I'm surprised that took so long. Video thing.
I think they had to have their roster before they could do it. And also, I think it's what I'm saying. They're gonna have to charge for you to watch it. You're gonna have to pay money.
Yeah, because I was saying when the Joe Budden first announced that he was exclusive to Spotify, I was nervous as fuck that the video was gonna be off of YouTube. Now, granted, I did eventually cave in and just bought. I buy about a year now because I just know I'm not missing out on my shit. Yeah, you know what I mean. But I feel like if they would have took him off of YouTube at first. On that very first day they announced it, I would have bought a premium. Like, no questions asked. I would have just, I'm paying for it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Because I have to have, that literally became part of my routine.
Weekly bed, yeah.
When I was driving to work, Joe Budden Podcast. You know
what
I'm saying? Like, when I'm at home, I'm doing little chores, doing laundry and shit. Like, I'm listening to the podcast. Like, if they would have forced me to pay, I would have paid. You know what I'm saying? Because it was that crucial to me.
And honestly, bro, come September 1st, because Joe Budden re-ups this summer, come September 1st, if I'm the Spotify CEO, I'm forcing niggas' hands to pay for it. You got to, because now you have the talent, you have the platform, you have the video feature. Why is it free? And you paying Joe Rogan 100 mil plus, you paying Joe Budden 100 mil plus, Bill Simmons getting 50 to 70 mil. We got to make our money back.
That bag got to come from somewhere. You know what else is crazy? I really do feel like this will be a good thing for people like you and me.
Oh, facts.
You know what I mean? Like, YouTube now, they're going to do something, because this has been a big complaint within the YouTube community, is that they don't, for the bigger creators, there's no incentive to
stay on
put it out on YouTube outside of the fact that everybody uses YouTube. But if everybody starts moving to these other platforms, if I want to listen to a podcast, I'm taking my Spotify. YouTube has to do something for creators that are on the YouTube platform to make sure that they don't do like Joe Rogan did. Because
they're gonna make the monetization way better now.
Yeah, we talking about millions and millions of streams that they lose it, and not even just streams, but something that's really important to them is
ad revenue. Yeah, and watch time with the ad revenue.
watch time and ad revenue, and you only get the ad revenue through niggas that sit there and watch for hella long.
Yep.
You know what I mean? That's why they so big on watch time. So what's going to happen is, I think now it's going to be easier for people like me and you to monetize
YouTube
shit on YouTube.
Facts. Where
they're going to be a bigger like reward for successful people on YouTube.
Facts. And it's
because honestly, like most people.
Oh no, go ahead. Because I was just saying, I think it's gonna be less. Whereas like now, I think you need like 10,000 views on YouTube to start monetization. I think they're gonna have to drop that down to 1,000, and that's gonna be beautiful.
Yeah. And not just that, I feel like they're gonna have to do some kind of tier system where once you reach a level like Joe Rogan, that they really are cashing you out. Like it's not just, cents on the dollar to per whatever streams. Like they're gonna have fucking pay niggas. You know what I mean? Or are they looking at people going? Because honestly, bro, like once Spotify get this stronghold, I can see them having their own little YouTube situation.
They're gonna be
There's gonna be a
podcast.
way. Exactly. There's gonna be a way where you can upload Bros Who Think on that bitch, and there's gonna automatically be some legitimate pay system off the gate. You won't have to reach 30,000 subscribers before they start giving a fuck about you. Like they're gonna put in work to make sure like anybody who trying to podcast come through us. You know what I mean?
They sent me an email the other day saying be ready for when they switch for the vodcast, because it was like if you have video for your podcast, you can up. Spotify sent me that shit the other day.
Bro, get on it.
They're gearing up. I got everything ready to go for when you gotta be. This some behind the scenes shit, but by whenever the launch date happens, they said if you have everything ready to go for the launch date, all your videos and shit, literally I can put in my YouTube URL and they'll take all the videos from YouTube. And
that's hard. That's hard. Hey, and if that's a direct shot to them niggas, like, yo, we taking all your shit.
All of it.
Bro, if the majority of podcasts move over to Spotify and stop uploading video to YouTube, that's gonna hurt them niggas bad, bro.
Big fat.
Bad.
Yeah,
and YouTube been a giant forever, bro. They've been a giant forever.
They were just getting their shit like to the point where they have cable music. Like Lior Cohen and YouTube not about to take this sitting down. So it's gonna be interesting to see what YouTube offers us, the creators, to try to keep us over there. But final question on this: does Joe Budden come September 1st? Will he be part of the new Spotify roster with Joe Rogan and Bill Simmons?
I don't know. I'd be really curious. It depends on what kind of offer they give him, because I know he knows what happened in the Joe Rogan deal.
Oh,
you know what I mean?
He says this episode after episode. I know my worth. He's not about to take less.
And the thing is, he knows that Joe Rogan he worked the deal that he wanted. I know if Joe Rogan stopped doing his shit independently on YouTube, as successful as it was, there was a beautiful deal on the table. So if if Joe Budden shit don't look like that, I think he out. My question is, I just want to know what the fuck he planning if he was to go independent with his podcasting.
We could talk about that, because I'm going to bet that he's not going to be on Spotify, because I just feel they don't offer, because I feel like they're going to lowball him at first and then he's going to be pissed off, because that's the type of nigga Joe is just from listening to his pod. They're going to lowball him and then he's going to get pissed off and he's going to be like, fuck y'all. But the thing is, I don't think, because I know both Rory and Maul wants to be at Tidal, I don't know if Jay got enough money to pay him. I just don't. Like, I don't know if
that would be big, bro. Because honestly, there's no offer that they made in the past that made me want to subscribe to Tidal. Like,
same.
It's not.
No, spot. I agree.
But if that was the case, I really might have to consider getting a Tidal subscription.
Don't even say really. You know your ass would have a Tidal subscription, just like me.
Real shit. I would.
Exactly. And look, if I'm Hove and I really want to get in this streaming war battle, I do whatever it takes to get Joe Budden, because Tidal, if you look at Tidal, the business model should be, at least for now, I don't want to get, like, and this is no disrespect to white people, but it's like, if I get the white community, cool. If I don't, cool. But I better have every motherfucking nigga on my platform. That should be their goal. Like,
And honestly, that would do it for the majority of. I think you get 80% of black streamers on Tidal if Joe Budden was exclusive there. Honestly, like I really do. It's really become that type of podcast.
And then
because like when I first started listening, niggas was like, "Bro, you listening to Joe Budden? What the fuck?" You know what I mean?
Same.
And like now that Joe Budden is at exactly now that he at where it's at, it's like everybody just know like, all right, we listen to this podcast. This just is what it is. Like this is a podcast for the people.
And if your title, what they need to do is stop hoeing on creators like us and allow other, like, it shouldn't be just exclusive podcasts. They need to open it up to other black creators to get younger people on there so they can build up their base. Because if I'm me, and let's say we get to the point to where we want to have multiple platforms. If Tidal asks us, what's my purpose of saying, yeah, y'all didn't let us come in at the jump, whereas we've been on Spotify and Apple. That's something they don't allow. See, they need exclusive pods.
Yeah. I think they're gonna work something out though, hopefully. I just don't know how much Jay is involved anymore.
Yeah.
That was one of the big selling points to try to get people to that platform. Because I know he sold a big percentage of his ownership away.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
He's still involved, but he's not as in as he was.
Elliot Wilson pretty much runs the creative side of it.
Yeah.
So we're going to see what YN do. Yeah, no, it's going to look, I love all of this. This streaming war shit is getting very, very interesting. Shout out to Joe Rogan on his good deal. Congratulations. That's good news for us and for all creators in the podcast space. Let's jump to something that just has me perplexed. Absolutely perplexed and just disgruntled. This ESPN top 74 basketball list, and we're going to talk about this on Bros Who Ball next week. We didn't get a chance to because I forgot about it, but I got to bring this up at some point in this show. Bro, this list, I'm not going to go through and read everybody, but I'm going to go through some names, and I'm going to just ask you if they should be higher than others. Should, first off, so at 40, let's see, at 45, Anthony Davis with no NBA championships. Should he be ahead of Reggie Miller? Don't have no championships either. Should he be ahead of Paul Pierce, Ray Allen? Let's see some other championship winners. Clyde Drexler. Like Anthony Davis should not be above Robert Parrish and all these people at freaking 40. At 45. I get Anthony Davis is a prolific talent, but it's too early in his career to say already Anthony Davis is the 45th best basketball player of all time. That's fucking blasphemous, and I don't care if you think I have a bias against Anthony Davis, because if you are a basketball historian, then you should understand that this dude has done nothing but be injured and not take his team to the playoffs. There's no fucking way he should be 45 when his best outlook on his career from this point on is being LeBron James's Robin. I'm fucking sorry.
Yeah, that's crazy. And I'm saying there's a lot of champions that are way below him. Like, and people, not just champions, but people who were like
great
top contributors on a championship team.
Like, Manu Ginobili should not be, I'm sorry, Manu Ginobili might not be more talented than Anthony Davis, but Manu Ginobili has a move that he invented, that Euro step. He has won multiple championships. Same with Ray Allen. Same with Paul Pierce. They should not be below him. That is just disrespectful.
Yeah. Ray Allen below him is super disrespectful.
Like, that is ridiculous. Let's go to another ranking that I think is blasphemous. Look, Chris Paul don't have championships. This is where I'm going to go to talent argument. Chris Paul should not be below Jason Kidd, because Jason Kidd won a championship when he was washed up. Chris Paul should not be below Steve Nash. Chris Paul should not be below, and look, Isaiah Thomas, whatever. If he's going to be below him, cool. But he should not be below Allen Iverson or John Stockton. Allen Iverson was an icon for what he did with fashion and what he did with hip-hop and all of that. But in terms of talent, Chris Paul is better than all of them. What are we talking about? Like, Allen Iverson is not better than fucking Chris Paul. He's not.
I would put up a argument for Allen Iverson just because I feel like he changed the game, like his contribution to the game, like that little fancy little crossover shit. He made that normal. You know what I mean?
Okay, I get that.
And now that's like the standard in the league. Like all those little flashy ass moves niggas be doing.
But let me ask you this:
if you ISO ball shit.
If you are a GM of the Pelicans and
I'm going Chris Paul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
You have to ask me that.
Cool.
But the only reason I think devil's advocate is because I could see why they would rank him there. Because honestly, I think when Chris Paul's career is over, we still gonna look at Allen Iverson as more legendary. Because niggas don't really care about the fact that you could actually play basketball.
No, I agree with that.
The random fan, the typical fan, they don't really care about that.
The only way Chris Paul would be viewed as over Allen Iverson if he gets a championship, and there, to me at this point in Chris Paul's career, I don't see that happening. Another one that I'm perplexed by, and look, this dude is great, but if I'm gonna bitch about Anthony Davis being 45, I gotta bitch about this too. Why the fuck is Giannis Antetokounmpo 27? Giannis Antetokounmpo is above Isaiah Thomas, multiple champion winner, above Ray Allen, above Paul Pierce. He's 27. He's above AD and fucking all those people that we just mentioned. There's no way Giannis with one MVP should be at the 27th best basketball player of all time. And granted, he has skills we've never seen, but are we going to award someone a ranking before their career is even like, what are we talking about?
Yeah. That is tough though. It's tough only because I'll say Giannis is almost guaranteed to win 3. He's almost guaranteed to win. Like if he don't win at least 3, it's because he sat in Milwaukee and let them fuck his career up. You know what I mean? Like if he team up with even one nigga that's like
kind of good, yeah.
Top tier all-star. Because, like, think about, like, LeBron AD. If Giannis and AD was to team up and they, at the ages they are, bro, all they would have to do is stay together for 4-5 seasons. They win in 3 out of those 5 years.
I agree with that. I'm just saying let's not put him in the 40 range. Like, put him in the 40s, whereas you can give some of these champions that spot before, because I agree with you. I think Giannis, when it's all said and done, will have a couple championships. But I'm not about prematurely giving it to him before he gets it. Like, let's not put the crown on his head before he wins the crown.
Yeah, but there is people where, like, the talent level just kind of speak to it. Because, honestly, if we're going over, like, if we change the title of this list to most talented players of all time,
well, then,
Giannis jump up to top 10.
Ooh,
and talent has to weigh in at least 15. Because there's a lot of talented niggas that.
I'm going to argue because what are we talking talent? Because he's just that. Giannis is athletic. If we talking talent, Giannis can't shoot a jump shot.
But, I mean, yeah, that do come for something. But I feel like the shit that he do is literally unstoppable. Like, I put him up there with the LeBron and KD. Like, you can know what he about to do. You just can't guard.
Stop him, yeah. No, I agree with that.
They stuck 4 niggas under the rim and he just dunk on all of them. You know what I mean?
True.
Like,
no, that's 100% true. I am mad at that. But something I am mad at, Dwayne Wade is number 26, and that's the Flash. Dwayne Wade, to me, is the 3rd best shooting guard of all time behind Mike and Kobe. Why the fuck is Kawhi Leonard over him with 1 championship? But let's keep going. Charles Barkley, I think Charles Barkley needs to be higher, so I'm not mad at
Kawhi got 1?
Kawhi only has Kawhi has 2 with the Spurs and with one with Toronto. The Spurs and 1 with Toronto. Okay, well, I'm gonna give Kawhi some slack, but still, what is this list about? Is it about championships or if it's about skill? If it's about skill and mixed with championships, there's no reason why Scottie Pippen should be 21 and Dwayne Wade is 25-6. Dwayne Wade is a way better basketball player than Scottie Pippen, especially from what I saw from this documentary. I can't have Scottie Pippen ranked at 21 above Dwayne Wade if he gonna come to me in the 4th quarter and tell me as a coach, oh yeah, I'm not taking the last shot, I'm not playing, I'm quitting on this team. Nigga, what?
Yeah.
That's above Dwayne Wade.
Yeah.
The ultimate team player.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Again, just to play devil's advocate, is I really do feel like if the majority of that list would have had some kind of documentary showing all the behind the scenes shit, we would look at a lot of these niggas there. It wouldn't just be Scotty.
No,
you know
that's
what
true.
I mean? And talent-wise, that's debatable. Because I definitely agree with you. If we talking talent-wise, I definitely think you should put Dwayne Wade ahead of him.
And that's all I'm saying. Like, Dwayne Wade has shown, because let's call a spade a spade. When Dwayne Wade won his first championship, that was not because of Shaq. That was because of him. He was the Flash. Like, that's where he got the nickname the Flash. We saw when Scotty went by himself, that nigga couldn't do shit. Like, couldn't do shit. He was like, what are we talking about? I think Kawhi Leonard's a better basketball player than Scottie Pippen too, and Charles Barkley. But I get why Charles is lower, because Charles don't have championships. But if we're going on talent, Scottie Pippen should not be 25th. Also, Kevin Garnett at 20 over Charles Barkley, Dwayne Wade, and Kawhi? That nigga only got one championship? What are we talking about?
Nuts. Bring him over Kawhi is nuts.
Bro,
I get that OG Minnesota Kevin Garnett was nasty. I get that.
He was a dog.
Niggas like Kawhi Leonard and all them.
That's ridiculous.
I think ESPN just be saying shit just to say it, bro.
Just for clicks.
They can really be just, bro.
It's crazy, bro, because, like, they give that one Celtics team with Paul Pierce and Ray Allen and Kevin Garnett, they act like they won 7 championships. Them niggas won 1. Like, they won 1. What the fuck are we? Kevin Garnett is not number 2. Kevin Garnett is not above Dwayne Wade on any, like, what the fuck are we talking about?
Yeah.
I'm so happy they put Dirk over him, because Dirk was a dog. Like, I'm glad Dirk is ranked above fucking KG. Let's go to another blasphemous point of, well, I don't know if this is blasphemous, but you think it is, so I'm gonna bring it up to you. Kevin Durant at 14, but Steph Curry is above him at 13.
Crazy talk. Crazy talk, bro. I don't give a fuck how he obviously is the best shooter of all time.
Let me play devil's advocate before you get into your argument, like you be doing with your argument with AI about how AI changed the game. We cannot deny that Stephen Curry changed the game of basketball to where niggas want to shoot them long-range threes. Like, from now on, when young kids grow up, they're going to say, people used to say Mike affected the game. Kobe affected the game. People said LeBron affected the game. But if you want me to be honest, I think Stephen Curry has affected the game more so than LeBron James. And I think Stephen Curry has affected the game in the sense of how Mike did, or like Kobe. Whereas nobody can, when you're young, you can't look at LeBron and say, oh, I want to be like LeBron. Because, nigga, your body not built that way. But with Mike and Kobe showed, if you work at it, you can hit that fadeaway jumper. Stephen Curry, if you work at it, you can hit them threes. That's why I think Stephen Curry is higher than KD.
And that's a good argument, because he did completely, like, the clip at which teams are shooting threes now, that is literally the how can we keep up with the Curry effect. Like, entire organizations are changing the way that they're building their teams because of Steph Curry and Warriors. But my defense to that is Kevin Durant can shoot extremely well. Like, we're not talking about the Giannis where he ain't really got a jump shot.
No, I agree.
And that's just 20% of his game. KD is legit one of those Giannis niggas where, if he turn his back to you, how you gonna stop him? He back you down in the low post. How you gonna defend that fade coming? You know what I mean?
And look, I'm gonna be honest. I think KD should be top 10. Like, if I'm gonna be real, like KD is
especially if Giannis is ranked high, because I feel like if you put Giannis up there for the reasons that Giannis is Giannis, KD is Giannis with a fucking jump shot.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, I agree with that. I think Steph...
a crazy jump shot.
I think Steph should be higher than 13 because of what I said. I think Steph should be like 11, and I think KD should be 10, and we should move down people like Oscar Robertson and Akeem Olajuwon. I definitely think KD should be 10. and Steph should be like 11. I don't think Steph should be ranked over him, but I get why ESPN did it. That's one of the ones I do understand. But let's get to this top 10 because I think KD should be in there. First off, it is blasphemous that Shaquille O'Neal and Kobe Bryant, Shaquille is 10 and Kobe is 9, and look, I get Tim Duncan is Mr. Fundamental. I get Tim Duncan got 5. But if you ask me, talent-wise, I'm taking Kobe and Shaq over Tim Duncan. But look, I think Tim should be above where he at too. If we being honest at this top 10, let's go through it. Number 1, Michael Jordan. I'm cool with that. Number 2, LeBron James. Look, me personally, I think Kobe Bryant should be maybe at number 2, but I'm okay with LeBron being at 2. Number 3, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Look, Kareem has titles, but if you ask me, can Kareem Abdul-Jabbar guard Shaq? My answer is fuck no.
Hell no.
Fuck no. Put this nigga, like, so in that case, we got to drop him down lower. Bill Russell. And look, I'm going to say the same thing about it because it goes Kareem 3, Bill Russell 4, Magic 5, Wilt Chamberlain 6, Larry Bird 7. For Bill Russell, Wilt Chamberlain, you niggas played against, and this is no disrespect because y'all know I got white friends. I love white people. I ain't mad at nobody. But Bill Russell and Wilt Chamberlain played against 5'5" whiteys in the 50s. What the fuck are we talking about? These niggas could not guard Shaquille O'Neal. Bro, Shaquille O'Neal is the most dominant force the NBA has ever seen. If you go watch old Shaq games, like I recently did, and they would have people holding Shaqs, and the referee would look like, I don't know what to do. Because if the referees would call basketball for Shaq the way they call for everybody else, every play would be a foul. Every fucking play would be a foul.
Yep.
So what are we?
What's crazy, bro? Like the whole shit need to be thrown away. Like whoever ranked Kobe where they ranked them need to be fired from ESPN, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
That is fucking insane, bro.
Like to me,
that is fucking insane. That he's 9. Like honestly, I think he should be 3. He should be 3.
See, and that's what I was about to say. I was about to say, look, if anything, I'll concede this for the old timers. I'll put Magic 3. I'm not mad at Magic Johnson being 3. But you see, 4 has to be Kobe. 5 has to be Shaq. 6 has to be Tim Duncan. Then you can go Larry at 7. And then you could go Wilt, Kareem, and Bill Russell. But Shaq and Kobe and Tim Duncan need to be 3, 4, and 5. Whatever order you want to put it in, that's cool. Magic can be 3 because Magic won a lot of shit and Magic that nigga. But Shaq, Kobe, and Tim need to be 4, 5, and 6.
Yeah.
They should not be 8, 9, and 10 when I know damn well Wilt Chamberlain, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, and Bill Russell could not guard Shaq and Tim Duncan. I'm sorry. Played a physical game.
Being ahead of Kobe and Shaq is nuts. That is just insanity to me. Everybody was nice, bro, but this nigga, his whole game was just so basic. You know
fundamental,
what I mean?
backboard.
Very effective. Very effective. But come on, man. This nigga not no Kobe.
Yeah.
But damn sure not no Shaq. Like, come on, man. What are we talking about? What are we talking about?
That's why I asked, is this list about talent? Is this list about rings? What are we judging this? What is the criteria? Because if I know the criteria, maybe I could defend it better. But, bro, like what are we talking? Like, Wilt Chamberlain should not be above Shaquille O'Neal. I'm sorry. I am sorry. And Wilt Chamberlain's not more talented than Larry Bird. Like, what are we talking about? Like, even Larry got an argument. Bro. Like, this list is fucking stupid. Whoever made this ESPN list needs to be fired. This is horrible. Like, but absolutely horrible.
I'm really convinced that ESPN is turning into one of those, like, bullshit spots, one of those bullshit media spots where they in search of the clicks and the numbers, bro. There's no type of, like, validity to the shit they be saying no more.
Yeah, it's looking bad over there at ESPN right now. Like, I don't know how Stephen A. Smith let him make that list. I don't know.
They was talking about some shit the other day that really like drove me. They were saying dude from Clemson was better than Joe Burrow, and he was gonna have like a better first year in the league.
Trevor.
There you go.
Look, and I'll say this: he might have a better first year due to the fact that Joe Burrow's in Cincinnati. But I don't know if he's better than Joe. I don't think he's better than Joe Burrow.
Yeah.
Like talent-wise.
I still think Joe Burrow about to light it up. He's one of the most NFL-ready QBs in a few draft classes.
My thing with this is just Joe got a shitty team around him. Cincinnati is just a terrible organization.
Yeah. It's more so the organization. They got talent, though.
Like they got AJ Green, they got Joe Mixon, they got some people around it, but it's just the offensive line, young coach, and the organization is just god awful. That's the thing Joe Burrow battling.
Yeah.
So
I hope he get out of Cincinnati quick.
Me too. I hope he get
gives them 2 or 3 seasons to start looking like they on the up, and if they not, I hope he gets the fuck out of there.
Yeah, leave. I agree with that. The final question I have for this week's pod is, I think dark meat sucks. Dark meat chicken, I think it absolutely sucks. Am I crazy?
What?
Am I crazy?
Yes. That's the only piece of the chicken that's fire. I swear to God, I wouldn't even eat white meat chicken if it wasn't for the fact that it's like less fatty and better for people in the fitness and shit.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I even eat chicken breast. And the whole time I'm eating it, I'm like, damn, I wish this was a thigh and a leg. Like, dark meat is where it's at, bro.
Okay, I'll say this. I fuck with thighs. I think thighs are fire. But legs, I don't fuck with legs, bro.
What?
Legs.
You don't fuck with the drumsticks?
No, bro. Them things gross to me.
You can go to Popeyes right now. As soon as this pod is over, and I'm going to give me a 3-piece dark, bro. Popeyes is, the dark meat is the only meat, bro. Especially if I'm like at Popeyes or something, bro, and I'm not trying to be healthy, that's the only.
So how you rank it? What piece you rank first? Like which one you rank number one?
The drumstick, man. The drumstick
over the
is
thigh?
forever a classic. Yeah, yes, sir.
Damn. So you go drumstick one, and this is all forms of cooking. You got drumstick 1. What you got 2?
The thigh.
What you got 3?
The breast.
And then wings 4.
And 4 is the wing. Yep.
So you don't have wings high because like when you go to Buffalo Wild or whatever wing spot, you don't have wings higher? Because see, I go wing 1 just for the versatility. I go breast 2, thigh 3, leg 4. And I could switch breast and thigh because I think thighs are delicious. Like if you get you a barbecue thigh, one of them boneless barbecue thighs, nothing beating that shit. That shit is crazy. Like that's why thighs could be 2 for me.
But the wings, it's like so much bones for no reward. Like you fucking with all those bones and there's barely no meat on them thing, bro. Like when you get you a leg, like the bone is conveniently placed where you just eat around it. You ain't gotta like get in between and all this extra shit. Cause I think the thing that turned me off is like when you gotta start cracking bones and cartilage to get to the meat, like that's what you lose. I'd rather just eat the thighs and the legs, bro.
That's why I don't fuck with the veiny legs, and then I like that little bone inside the leg that pop up when you get low. Like,
Yeah, but that's the only piece you gotta get rid of. You just get rid of that shit and you straight.
Oh, fuck with legs, bro. It didn't leg quarters.
Too much work.
Do you fuck with leg quarters?
Yeah.
I know you know what that is, because black people always be fucking with them. I don't fuck with leg quarters, bro.
That's what I make like my sauce pecan with that shit, bro. That leg quarters. Leg quarters and sausage, all that shit. Like, bro, that's a hit, man. I'm telling you, bro. You gotta leave the white meat alone. All
right,
no racist shit. You gotta leave the white meat alone, bro. That dark meat gonna bring you the way you need to be.
Look, I'm barbecuing on Sunday. I'm definitely barbecuing some thighs, but I'm gonna give some legs a shot. And if it's not hitting, I'm coming next week and letting you know.
Bro,
because I don't fuck with legs.
Bro, but legs,
I forgot we did have one more conversation I wanted to ask you, because we've been trying to talk about the best black TV shows for a while now. And they got some list going around with God tier, top tier, mid tier, and low tier. I'm gonna just ask you which black shows, and they got Martin on here, Fresh Prince, Different World, Sanford and Son, Cosby Show, Good Times, Bernie Mac, Living Single, My Wife and Kids, Everybody Hates Chris, Smart Guy, The Jeffersons, Wayans Brothers, Sister, Jamie Foxx, Blackish, Keenan and Kel, That's So Raven, Family Matters, Girlfriends, One-on-One, Moesha, Steve Harvey, The Parkers, All of Us, Eve, House of Pain, The Sinbad Show, What's Happening, Half and Half, The Game, Corey's House, The Carmichael Show, Webster, and then they got some others that I can't really see on here. What to you is a God tier black show?
I think for the God tier, they pretty much hit where it needed to be. Like I don't see none in the God tier that I disagree with. What I will disagree with though is having the Steve Harvey Show and the Parkers and Family Matters. Calling that mid is blasphemous, bro. The Parkers was like any nigga in our age group, anybody, bro. Anybody in our age group, if you black, the Parkers was your shit. I don't give a fuck who you are. Like, the Parkers just hit.
The Parkers was hard.
Steve Harvey Show, classic to me. Like, that's not me. You know what I mean? Like,
to me,
Family Matters. Some of the other ones.
Family Matters mid.
What? Family Matters was mid?
It's mid, bro. Let me tell you why.
Steve Urkel is a cultural icon.
I get that, but okay. Who else from the show you care about?
I mean, nobody, really. But that don't make it a bad show. That don't make it mid.
It's mid because they don't do nothing, and the only time the show hit is if Steve Urkel in the show.
Yeah.
They got rid. They had a whole child. If you watch the first season, in the intro, they got a whole child that's just gone by season 2 because Steve Urkel became the focus of the show, and he's not even in the family. To me, if you want to be in A tier or God top, look, let's look at God tier. Martin, we care about every character in that show, from Pam to Gina to Martin to Tommy. We care about everybody. Fresh Prince. We care about the whole cast. Niggas cared when they switched from dark-skinned Aunt Viv to light-skinned Aunt Viv. They couldn't miss a child. We care about different world. I'm not the biggest Different World fan, but my mom and them and their generation, they love Different World. So I'm not going to argue against it. Sanford and Son, like I said, that's our parents' generation. Everybody on that show they care about. The Cosby Show, you care about the whole family. Good Times, you care about the whole family. The Bernie Mac Show, you care about the whole family. Living Single, you care about the whole cast. My Wife and Kids, they may have one kid you don't fuck with, but for the most part, you care about 4 out of the 5. Everybody Hate Chris. You didn't really fuck with the older brother, but you cared for the younger sister and everybody else. Smart Guy. I cared about everybody on Smart Guy. The Jeffersons. That wasn't my generation, but I get it. The Wayans Brothers, everybody. Sister, everybody. The Jamie Foxx Show, definitely everybody. Blackish, I've been watching Blackish a lot, and I really think Blackish, in terms of a new generation TV show, I think it's really good. Real nigga shit.
I'm lacking. I've seen like 1 or 2 the first couple episodes, but I never really watched it, so I can't really comment. But just off of the reception that it get, I can see it being in top tier. And
then Keenan and Kel, That's So Raven, and Girlfriends, you care about the whole cast for all them shows.
That's a fact.
If anything, I'm cool with the Parkers moving up to top tier and Steve Harvey over Family Matters. Family Matters, you don't care about that whole show.
Yeah. The Steve Harvey show, because, I mean, if that's the argument, I can see why they put the Steve Harvey show in mid.
In mid.
There wasn't really nobody that, outside of Steve, that you cared about.
And Cedric the Entertainer.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's what I'm saying. Like, I get why.
But the Parkers, man,
the Parkers, you care about the whole cast.
Monique and old girl, and then what his name was, the Professor Ogilvy. He, bro. That shit don't belong in mid tier, bro.
No,
Parkers was classic.
That's a top tier show. I'm trying to see what else. Low tier. I agree with this list. I'm with you. The only thing I think should be up here in God tier, to me, the best black TV show of all time is The Wire. That's the bit. And I get they going for comedies in this, but if we talking non-comedies, the best black show of all time has to be The Wire.
Yeah.
Bar none. That show's amazing.
I think they more so sticking to like sitcom type shit.
Oh, sitcoms, comedies? Okay. Well, then if we talking sitcoms, comedies, the best one? Fresh Prince.
Yeah. Either that or Martin.
Yeah, or Martin. I ain't mad at that.
And I know that the Bernie Mac show is not a better show than those, but man, I love Bernie Mac show, bro. That would be like a.
I'm with you.
It would be up there for number one.
For me, I'm with you.
It probably wouldn't win it, but I definitely have to like really consider it. You know what I mean? It would be tough.
Now that we got these tiers,
to me is legendary.
Now that we got these tiers, when Brooklyn come back, we're gonna do the bracket. I'm gonna make a bracket and we're gonna do it because to me.
Oh yeah, we can rank this because I feel like we're gonna be doing a lot of arguing on the lower tiers.
The Bernie Mac show for me could potentially beat out somebody. Like it could maybe win it because I'm with you. I went back and rewatched the Bernie Mac show like 2 months ago, and my girlfriend was like, "What's this?" I was like, "You ain't never seen the Bernie Mac show?" Oh, yeah. We watched that whole bitch. Oh, bro, I love the Bernie Mac show.
It still hit now.
It feels relevant
now.
Whereas like Martin, I'm not gonna lie, I kind of watch Martin for nostalgia.
Yeah, that's what it is. Because like a lot of the comedy in there is like that comedy don't really hit too.
It's like 90s.
Yeah, it don't really hit the same in 2020.
Whereas like, Bernie Mac is timeless, bro. That shit is crazy.
Yeah. And especially now that like I can understand, you know, I'm older to kind of figure out some of the adult shit that they was talking about. And especially like being a dad and it's kind of him in that black father role. Yeah. You see a lot of the struggles that happen. Like it's relevant. You actually learn some shit watching it. You know what I mean? And I fuck with that part of the show. No, and Bernie Mac is just hilarious. Bernie Mac is my favorite comedian ever, bro.
That's what I was about to say. Bernie Mac is top 5 black comedian of all time. For sure. And like I would say even top 3. Like I absolutely love Bernie Mac. Lower tier. You think the game should be in mid tier? The game was kind of good.
Yeah, I watched the game. I don't know if it would hit now. Like I kind of watched it back before streaming and shit, where I could choose what I wanted to watch.
When it was always on BET.
Yeah, when BET was really it. Like you just had to watch Baby Boy 50 times a week. You just had to watch the game.
Yeah.
Like, so I don't know if I'd probably keep the game where it's at, to be honest. Corey in the House for sure, right where it belongs.
Oh yeah, Corey in the House shouldn't even be. Corey in the House is ass tier. Like they should have something lower than low tier and call that shit ass tier. That is Corey in the House. That shit is asshole. But anything else you got today, Doom? Because if not, then we could get up out of here.
Yeah, I think that's it. I'm kind of looking forward to putting these in a bracket.
Yeah, same. I'm definitely looking forward to putting these in a bracket. Doom, tell the people where they can find you at on social media.
At Lil Doom SJ on Instagram and Twitter.
Man, y'all be sure to follow Doom. Doom has a lot of new music out. We're gonna premiere one of them soon enough whenever he send it to me and let me know his time. I fuck with Doom.
Oh, I got you. Say less.
Them shits go hard. But speaking of world premiere, let's get into this week's world premiere by Austin Rap Bomb. Shout out to our guy. The song is called Jimmy Jeans featuring Nutty Piper, Halftime Huey, Wes Walker. You may know him as the guy who made Jordan Belford and Fat the Barber. So it's Rap Bomb featuring Nutty Piper, Halftime Huey, Wes Walker, Fat the Barber, Jimmy Jeans. Let's get into that song right now.
You're tuned into the best show on the motherfucking planet. This is the BrosWhoThink Podcast, and this is a world premiere.
Shout out to my guy, Austin Rap Bomb. This is his new song, Jimmy Jeans, featuring Nutty Piper, Halftime Huey, Wes Walker, and Fat the Barber. Let's go!
How they bust the bitch like bust around your main bitch get flip mode. We beat it up like Klitschko. Your demeanor don't even mean a thing. In the moonlight we tiptoe. Chalk the bitch with a camel toe. Call it hoe blue by yo. When I skirt by I wave slide. Banana clips for my ape slide. Ryan Sheckler, dark slide. Jeff Hardy, twam time. I don't get high, I skydive. Fuck with me and that's twist of fate. 420, red eyes. Fuck with me, I stay high. When my phone ring, you know the line. Hello?
Y'all bitches really be stunting. We up to something. Me and my partners is coming. All of this built off of nothing. We got it buzzing. Never been down with the front end. Back when the pieces all fronted. Money abundance. Now we got more than we wanted. I swear that we really got something that you cannot harness. I'm off of the charts, so my jogging they playing. I'm about to go Super Saiyan. All this come with some patience. We going crazy cause of the moves we've been making. You see it all on your pages. These women naked just to feed vegan bacon. Smiles all over their faces. Thanks to my statements. We really across the nation. Catch me on one of these stages.
Damn, I get a little piece of pussy, I start getting confident. It's crazy. Yeah, whoa. I put the cash in the Duffy. I fuck that bitch and she lucky. All of your bitches so ugly. I pull a trick up my sleeve. Big O's like a snuggie. Lately I've been touching money. Boy, you disgusting. If you see me, please don't touch me. I came with two and they say they're both cousins, but I got a fucking best second. It's nothing. Whoa, Jimmy G's with the Jimmy G's. Yeah, hit my phone for the quarter piece. Yeah, if you see me, please don't touch me. Jeez. Whoa, got the cash 400 a G. Yeah, in my jeans, got the Jimmy G's. You need the pack, tell them pull up 400 a piece. Yeah, 400 a piece. Hit my phone, you can pull up to the Jimmy G's.
Wood grain wheel, got my nuts all fucked up. Got the bean in my system, got my nuts up. Wood grain wheel, got my nuts all fucked up. Got the bean in my system, got my nuts up. Jimmy Jeans, pop a bean, I be fucked up. Jimmy T, I put the 20s on the truck, I got the Jimmy Jeans. Mega beans, I'm on the bean since Thursday. It was the worst day. Fuck my denim up, got the lemon cup. Denny's boat, Grand Slam everywhere I go. Jimmy Jones, I ain't talking bullshit. Got the honeycomb, you be full of bitch.
One time for the Bros Who Think.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. It is that time of the Bros Who Think podcast called Bros Who Ball. And I know you're seeing on the screen, we got a very special guest with us today. Let me introduce at the bottom, returning co-host as always, Mr. Adam Schubert. But joining us on Bros Who Ball today, Mr. Charles Reese. I'll talk to him first, the host of Primetime. Charles, man, how have you been doing? Let the people know we haven't heard from you since Corona started. I know it's been a rough time with sports being out. Just tell the people how you been.
I've discovered there's some Xbox games I haven't played in a very long time. Call of Duty Warzone is awesome.
Super fun.
Other than that, man, been doing little projects, built some shit, and built a garden. Been growing some stuff, been cooking a lot. So, I mean, it's. I've read a lot of books too, so it's been boring. Absolutely boring, you know.
Well, I like the fact that you've been gardening and like growing your own stuff, cooking. What's been some of your favorite meals that you've been cooking? Because I've been cooking as well.
Oh, okay. So
and what you've been growing too?
So we've been making a lot of Chinese because we've got a lot of vegetables.
Ooh, you got your wok?
I do have a wok.
That's it.
Spring rolls have been really good, but last night, cherry tomatoes, basil, and I made some bruschetta, and it was so good. Put a little mozzarella on top to add a little new spin, and broiled that mozzarella up. It was delicious.
That
Absolutely
sounds
delicious.
amazing. I'm gonna have to get your recipe for that because last time I came, you put me on that elote, and that changed the game. That was amazing.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what's up, man. Glad to hear you've been cooking. What you been reading? Give us one of your books or what you've been reading.
The last one I finished was Mr. New Orleans. It's about a guy who is a mobster and had ties to a lot of the famous people in New Orleans, and you know, he considered himself Mr. New Orleans, which is the title of the book. And look, it really goes into the depths of things, but it's one of those books where how much do you believe of what he's saying? Because he is a mobster, he is a manipulator at the end of the day. But man, you got to see a side of New Orleans that, looking at it today, you don't really see that mob tie anymore with New Orleans, but you can see things that tied back to it. Back in the day.
Damn, I really want to check that book out because it's interesting. I have been wondering for like the past 6 weeks of when I heard about the New Orleans Mafia and hearing that the Italians had a presence in New Orleans and this was one of their hubs in the South. I definitely want to know that because I always wanted to know more of that story. Do you think it could be a movie based upon what you read?
Oof, it'd be a lot to be a movie because it was individual broken up stories. But look, talking about that Italian influence, Carlos Marcello had a big influence with this guy. This is pretty much one of his right-hand men. So, anything that ran through New York had a footing in New Orleans as well.
Real. Okay. Damn. You got me excited. I definitely want to check that out. Also going to have to, that could be something in your next pitch it match, which is coming up, that you could pitch. That would be a great pitch, man. You need to keep that in the back of your mind. But also join us, Mr. Adam Schubert. It's Mr. Adam Schubert. Shuby, how you doing today, brother? Some big news on the movie front. Let me tell to everybody watching, it was a mistake on my end why Bros Who Binge got released today. We had lost the file, but I recovered it. Shuby, how you doing, man? The Snyder Cut's coming out. I don't know if that's good for DC, bro.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger news that I'm upset that we didn't get on this week's episode was the Mandalorian. They kind of have an idea of what Timothy Olyphant's character is.
Boba Fett.
Yeah, pretty much Boba Fett.
But okay, he's not Boba Fett the character. And
I read that book that they're
talking
about where the character came from. Yeah, so it's a pretty cool character.
That's going to be interesting. So do you think, I know we're going to talk more about this on Bros Who Binge, but just real quick, do you think Boba Fett the person is alive?
I think it's possible. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. His armor just could have been lost.
And maybe that's why we're getting a Boba Fett series with him. A lot of stuff is making sense. We'll talk more about this on Bros Who Binge. But today we're drafting. We're doing 2 drafts. We have the 2017 NFL draft. I said if we're having our first football draft, we got to have the football guy himself here, Mr. Charles Reese. We're also doing the 2015 NBA draft. But before we get to that, The Last Dance ended. Me and Schubert, our review is out now on Bros Who Binge. But let's talk about it real quick because Horace Grant did have an article released about talking about how basically everything MJ was saying about him, he felt was unfair. He felt that it was basically him not telling the full side of the story. Scottie Pippen also felt he got portrayed inadequately. Schubert, I'll start with you, and then we'll go to Charles. How do you feel about the stuff that's coming out post Last Dance? Because we were, and I still am a big proponent of, I really like the documentary, but it was it was very MJ controlled, and I think Charles brought up a great point in our pre-production. How do you feel about just all the stuff that's coming post Last Dance? Because I do think ESPN went a little crazy where they did the I think it's Gregory Snap or whatever the little segment they ran on SportsCenter about the GOAT. It just felt very like, okay, I get why y'all are doing this because MJ, it's his documentary, and it's like we gotta run this after. But I just felt like, okay, this is a little biased.
Yeah, I mean, I think it goes back to kind of our conversation that we had on the Bros Who Binge show about the episode that at the end of the day, it wasn't the greatest documentary you've ever seen. It was more or less what I've been agreeing with what people have been saying, that it's more of like a Jordan memoir. And at the end of the day, if I was asked, hey, do you want to watch a 10-part Jordan memoir? Hell yeah, I do. So, I mean, I was totally cool with it. I was, I really loved the documentary. And even though that some things could be false, I mean, that's just part of the whole narrative. I mean, I think if what Horace Grant's saying is true and Jordan did lie, I think that just makes it even better for the narrative.
I think it shows more so about, I think we got the real Jordan 100%. If you just have to read between the lines. Like, I think, for example, one thing that really showed him was when he said 25 years later, he's still upset that he didn't come back in 99. I think it eats at him. I don't think he's comfortable in retirement. I think, and I'll let Charles bring up this point about Horace Grant, but I think that point you said about Horace is very true, and I think we see that anger, and that's why Horace didn't have a lot of spotlight, because you got to think, in the first big 3, they really tried to glide over that because MJ didn't really want a lot of Horace Grant in there, but you got to think, Horace Grant was the 3rd member of the big 3 for the first three-peat. He was Dennis Rodman, and he was kind of better than Dennis Rodman when he played. Charles, what's your take on it? I know you didn't watch the documentary, but I want you to explain why you didn't.
Okay, well, why I didn't, it's hard for me to get my mind wrapped around sports when there's no sports going on. And like, I'm not going to have a false filler even though it's good. I
False
mean,
hope.
I'm going to go back and watch it. You know, I've seen stuff and look in today's social media. If you have other plans, if you're making dinner, you know, you're watching a movie that night, I just go look at Twitter, and I, instead of spending an hour watching it, I spent 5 minutes. I knew exactly what happened, you know, and I knew the highlights of what happened. I can read about what happened. But my point with Horace Grant is, you know, Horace Grant considered them to be a big three, right? Him, Scotty, and MJ. And look, you can make that argument, because if there's one series that MJ wishes he didn't lose, it was the Horace Grant.
Yep.
And not only did he feel that Horace Grant, you know, has that grudge against him with that, he also believed Horace Grant went off and told SI some stuff. And so,
about the Jordan Rules book.
Exactly. So with that being in the picture, you know, Horace and Scotty were really big friends. At this point, Mike Greenberg said, and, you know, he came out and said, look, if anyone was a snitch, it was Michael, because Michael came out and said what we were doing when he was a rookie, you know, that there was, you know, there were strippers, cocaine, drugs, everything, you know.
That first episode was wild because of that.
The kind of stuff that you don't say to the public, you know, it's like
you keep in the locker room.
It's like, what happens in the locker room, what happens with your teammates, what happens in a fraternity house, like those type of things just aren't usually public knowledge. And MJ came out and said it. And so Horace had a grudge, but I think at the end of the day, the biggest grudge is Michael, because if anyone can't let go of a grudge, and we've learned that, whether it be in competition or personal, it's Michael Jordan. And
look at his
don't want to be on Michael's bad side, you know?
Look at his friendship with Charles Barkley. He ended a 20-year friendship just because Charles didn't even say anything bad about him. He just said that as an owner of the Bobcats, he's not really doing a good job. And I mean, is that a lie? Yeah, like he's not. He hasn't. And the Bobcat, to me, from us doing these NBA redrafts, Michael Jordan has not made a good pick as the Charlotte GM, and he's passed on so much talent. The Kid Gilchrist pick had to be one of the most horrible picks. He goes after these big name program people who have won, but he doesn't. It doesn't look like he can scout talent, or he sees too much of himself. I want to ask this before we get into the redraft, because I think this was a great conversation that's been brought up time and time again. The GOAT argument. And being that I always say, because I never saw Michael Jordan play or the older people play, I don't like to rank them. But being that this documentary happened, I went back and watched a lot of old games. I'll start with you, Schubert, and then we'll go to you, Charles, and we'll just open this up. Do you think this documentary, or do you think, just in general, your opinion of LeBron James being the GOAT, has that changed? Has it been still the same? Do you feel he can be the GOAT? Let's just we'll go each y'all's answers. We can open up the conversation.
You know, I think it, again, falls into narrative, why do we think anyone's the greatest player ever? Because a lot of them have really great stories. So if LeBron's story ends up being greater, then like that could make him the greatest player. But at the end of the day, there's a physical, concrete number that you have to get to be able to say that you're the best NBA player, and that's championships. And you know, if you don't have over 6, then it's just very hard for you to get over the distinction.
You got to have 5 at least, at minimum. And LeBron has already lost 3. Look, his story is still being painted, and I feel like Jordan feels a little bit of competition from LeBron, because this was going to be released in June. And you got to think this was going to be released during the time where him and the Lakers are chasing for their title and him going for 4. So like you said, narratives. Charles, does this change your opinion on, well, I know you didn't watch the documentary, but does the whole conversation of what's happening change your opinion of LeBron? Do you think, I know how you felt before, does this adjust anything on how you view the greatest of all time when it comes to basketball players?
I think Schubert talking about timeliness of the story is important, because if you're going to talk about when LeBron goes and wins a championship with Cleveland as his last hurrah, his last season, man, it's hard to say, how can LeBron not go out on top, you know? Even if that was his 4th or 5th, you know, he doesn't reach 6. What he did in Cleveland is something Michael never did with Chicago, because he always had sidekicks. And if anything we learned about LeBron is he didn't, you know, take his game and watch Michael play. He watched Scotty play. He watched the facilitating aspect.
Magic, too.
And Magic as well. But it gives me, I think, a little bit more appreciation for LeBron. You know, the reason I dislike LeBron is what he did, you know, with Miami. That whole thing blows my mind. But, you know, if I learned anything from the Bulls is that, look, Michael was a competitor. I don't think you'll ever see someone with that drive, focus, and compassion for a sport. But at the same time, as a person, you know, if anything, Michael's taken a huge hit.
Oh, 100%.
But when it comes to who's the GOAT, how could you ever surpass a guy like Michael, who has arguably the most prolific, important shot in NBA basketball history in that Game 6 dagger? And not only that, he's on top of the shoe universe. And I don't think anyone will ever top that. And look, LeBron's remaking Space Jam, but it's not going to be the same.
It's Michael. Yeah, man. Like Michael released a commercial where it was talking about like B Mike or some shit with the Jordans, and all of a sudden Bugs Bunny comes on and he's like, and Michael's like, I already did that. And it's just the shrug. And it's like, that was a shot at LeBron. And I think you make a great point. LeBron James as a person is 1,000% leaps and bounds ahead of Michael Jordan, the person. I think LeBron James is probably, because like I said, I don't know what Muhammad Ali did. He was a great activist, but in our generation, there's very few athletes off the court that are as good of off the court person as LeBron James, because to say he was noted as this chosen one coming out of high school, has been having media coverage, grew up in social media era since he was in high school, to say we've never heard of a scandal, never heard of a slip up. He's done things for the public. He's been an ambassador for the game, been an ambassador for the country. He's been such a great human being and a great father that it's like, that guy's amazing. But when it comes to on the court, I think y'all both said it perfectly. Like, there's a number he has to get. He has to get at least 5. He's lost 3. It's just hard to go against what Jordan did for that first three-peat and that second three-peat. LeBron does have a big thing going in his favor, though, beating the Warriors from down 3-1. He did have Kyrie and Kevin Love, but it's like he has that in his corner. I think if he maybe wins 2 championships with the Lakers, if possible, it can maybe put him in that conversation, and maybe we can see things turn. But like you said, in terms of on the court, it's hard to compete with Jordan, as well as shoe-wise. It's the Jordan shoes. LeBron is under Nike. Michael has his own section. It's like for LeBron to even come close, he should have did that deal with Adidas. And if you watch Soul Man, the 30 for 30 about Sonny Vaccaro, you see Adidas was trying to give him what Jordan had with Nike and how it was his own company. If LeBron would have did that with Adidas, maybe we have a different conversation. But because he's under Nike, there's a cap of a limit that he can hit, and it's just like you have to be an individual instead of copying what we see.
Does LeBron reach 5?
I don't think so.
More? If the NBA season doesn't continue this year and next year he has to go against the full strength Warriors, and not only that, does he win this year with, what Giannis was doing over in the East? I mean, does he even get out of the West?
And that's my thing.
Do the Nets emerge?
Do the Nets emerge next year? What if the Nets go on a run? For LeBron, does AD stay there? There's so many questions that's going forward with the Lakers that, look, they have no capital in terms of acquiring new assets. They gave it all to the Pelicans, right?
Facts.
So to get a guy for 1 year. So if AD doesn't resign, he's not happy with something, because AD, obviously, we know that he's a drama queen and, can get his feelings hurt.
He was talking about going to Chicago in the middle of the season.
Exactly. So, you think about those types of things. It's like, man, LeBron's outlook in terms of getting another championship this year was a golden chance to get one. Now, does it look like this year's going to happen? I don't think so. I don't think the NBA finishes the season, especially with their start date looking to be at, around Christmas next year. You got to talk about that off time. And right now you're looking at, we should be getting into the NBA finals right now. Even if you push the season back, and start at, say, September, you still have all the playoffs to play. And, that's going to take 2 to 3 months to finish the season and finish the playoffs. I don't think LeBron gets one this year. Honestly, I don't know if LeBron ever gets another one.
And that's a great point, and I think that's why he's pushing so hard for this season to come back. And
he knows.
Yeah, he does. And in his soul, I think he knows that if he doesn't come back this year and win one, it may be over for him. And even if it did come back in a July, we do whatever, because I've been hearing multiple things, whether it's starts in July, do like a simple playoff, or a tournament for the teams that thought they could have gotten in, and to see if they can be the A seed or whatever they're going to do. If it does come back, this is his only shot. And it's like, you have to go up against let's not forget the Clippers have Kawhi, Paul George, and a deeper team than what you have. as well as whoever comes out of the East. And if you don't win it this year, next year it's even harder because full-strength Warriors, Giannis, if Giannis leaves and goes somewhere else, that whole situation, the Nets emerging, Kawhi and Paul George and that team getting more chemistry. And look, I'm going to say it here. The Pelicans having a full season. That affects things, and it's like that's a young team that's good. We see Luka in the Mavericks. There's a lot of talent in the West, and if they don't win, I think he missed his window.
If they did do the playoffs, let's say middle of June, late June, July, whatever, isn't Klay Thompson ready to go?
Yep.
I mean, but do the Warriors? I don't think the Warriors would be in that.
They're already eliminated. So
yeah,
no.
They can't be in that tournament. I think the tournament would be.
Oh yeah, facts. I forgot. Yeah.
But here's the question: If you do that, you do a buy-in, whatever, you do a 3-game series with, let's say, teams 6 through 10, 12.
Yeah, it
whatever,
would be like the Pellies.
There's going to be an asterisk by it, and there always will be.
Yeah, no, you're
because
right.
What if the Pelicans make the playoffs if we play out the season, but they lose to the 6th seed, 2 out of 3. They go 1-1, they lose the final one, and if they play out the season, the Pelicans wear the Lakers down, and they take it to a 6-game series because that's something we could see, right? That's not something we think is out of the possibility.
I agree with that 100%.
Before everything happened with quarantine, the Pelicans were one of the better, if not the best team, hot wise, playing towards towards when the season shut down.
And Zion gets serious rest.
That's the thing. Like, there's an asterisk around this season, no matter who wins, how it ends, because of the situation that happened. And it's just, I think it's so interesting of how calculated Michael Jordan is, because you got to think, like we were saying earlier, this was supposed to come out in June with the finals. Now that there's no season, he drops this, and it's like, well, look, I'm putting my narrative out here. I don't know if LeBron's going to get one because like Charles said, his window might be over. It's just crazy how Michael Jordan played chess with that.
Back to the AD point. I mean, AD was already talking about going to Chicago. Doesn't this kind of make you get that, oh, man, rah-rah
I want to go to
Chicago?
Yeah. It's tough, man. It's super, super tough. And like we were saying, basically, I don't know if he wins, and I don't even know if the season comes back. I really enjoyed this conversation.
If you're a Pelicans fan and you're upset with Anthony Davis, or you're just upset with Anthony Davis in general, just start tweeting at him. Say, man, you can't get it done in Chicago. You need to go to Chicago. Let him go, because I guarantee you what, Anthony Davis will never win a championship if he goes to Chicago.
Facts. He has to
put 100 on it with anyone.
I'm with you on that. I'll take that bet as well.
My big argument, if I was Chicago, would be like, hey, look at all these things that they've been putting on ESPN on Instagram right now, like the best starting 5 in team history. Anthony Davis, you're never going to be in that starting 5.
I don't know if that's true.
Best LA player of all time.
Oh, you're talking about LA. I thought you were talking about if he went to Chicago. No, if he's at LA, no.
That's what I'm saying. If I was Chicago, I'd be like, you're never going to be a part of that. Like, you could be a part of a legacy that goes along with Michael.
Yeah, no, with Chicago, he's in the 5, not in LA. Fuck no.
And speaking of Horace Grant, even if he does go to Chicago, I mean, he'll never have as many championships as Horace Grant did as a Bull.
Hey, by the way, I just saw breaking news on my phone that the NBA's they're strongly considering going to Disney World as their.
That's the thing. That's something I've heard. I've heard LA. I mean, not LA. Vegas, where they do the summer league. They shut down a compound and whatever. But I think Disney World makes the most sense because it's evacuated right now. There's no one there. It's a city in itself.
It's just hard to do it because you're still bringing families in. You're still bringing in staff. Disney World is working to get reopened. Disney World's never been shut down like this. It's just something crazy. But even on top of that, you've got Steve Kerr out there, who's one of the biggest voices in the game right now, saying, why would we come back? Our season was over. Why would we risk Clay and Steph getting hurt, and missing a season like they missed this year? Does it make sense? No. And if you can't have a team come in, look, we talk about the Pelicans because we cover them. Schubert and I are wearing Pelican shirts. Everyone knows London's a huge Pelicans fan. At the end of the day, the Pelicans have one of the easiest finishing schedules against teams like Golden State. And if those easier teams aren't there for the Pelicans to beat, do they make the playoffs?
And that's why I think they have to, because they have to get a certain amount of games before the playoffs starts. You got to do that.
Full buy-in. It has to be a full buy-in. There's 15 games left, or about 15 games. Just play the damn games.
Exactly.
Either cancel the season, move on to next year, or play the games.
And look, if you're not gonna play the season, then you have to take like we're saying 6 through 12, 6 through 11, and do a tournament. You have to let those teams like Memphis, the Pels, the Spurs, you have to let those teams who are on the cusp play to get a chance, because then it'll allow you to keep your cable revenue by running those games, then doing the playoffs. It'll be better for the season, better for the NBA. I'm cool if the Warriors don't play anymore. I'm cool with, but you got to do a buy-in, because if not, then it really makes no sense, and then you might as well just wait till December to do a new season. I have a question for you, Charles. Do you think does this affect the NFL?
I think it does. Like, the NFL is trying to run their schedule on time. You see what college is doing. NCAA just voted that college football and men and women's basketball will be able to return to workouts starting June 1st. But you have to think about everything that goes into it. Look, there's a report that came out today that Austin said they're not going to have large gatherings for 2020 until, the end of 2020, looking to 2021. UT is one of the biggest universities and one of the, most storied programs in college football.
Yeah.
And look, LSU plays them this year, so you take it back here. And look, maybe there's a year where we only have the NFL play. But, I think college football and the NFL kind of go hand in hand together. And then the question is, what do you do with fans? A lot of guys aren't going to want to play games without fans in the stands.
That's true.
So.
And the thing is, where I see basketball being easier to work is just for the simple fact that most
people watch the game on TV. Football, you have 70,000 plus people go to each game.
And not even that. Like, let's not even look at look at the teams and everybody associated with a team and who goes on the field. You have 52 members of a football team plus 10 to 15 plus more members of staff and doctors and everything. That it's just so many people that have to be on the field, where with basketball, you have 10 people, teams, maybe 5 coaches. Like, you maybe have 25 max people per side. And
I think the MLB is the biggest domino. When they fall, when they decide to return, that allows basketball 2 months after maybe to go, because MLB is a sport that, yes, you have minimal contact, right? You see NASCAR has a race tonight. I think it's 6:30 that they're supposed to run yesterday. But, there's no contact in that. Yeah, look, pit crews are contacting each other, but there's still social distancing. When it comes to basketball, it's still sweaty body on sweaty body. You're not going to wear a mask to play basketball.
No,
one wear gloves. And so when it comes to the NFL, you have to have steps. Does the NFL start on time? Absolutely not. There's no way in hell it starts on time. And there's no way it starts until after, September, maybe October is a date they have to start. And how long does it take for players to get ready? Even with the NBA, I mean, we all know that your shots can be impacted if guys can't be at facilities. Are they shooting at home? Maybe, but it's not the same thing. We all know it's not the same thing.
And the fact that the NBA lifted their whole drug policy, like, the guys are coming back, like, these guys have to come back in shape. In the NFL, I'm more worried about, because we see what happens when players miss training camps, when they don't get a full training camp. ACLs are torn left and right during the preseason. And if the NFL just wants to say, we'll come back in October, how much time are you giving them before? Because if you start playing games, you're going to see major, major injuries in the NFL.
Yeah, because you look at the NFL, and it's a process that starts right after the draft. These guys have 2 to 3 months
It's starting
off,
like now.
where they're working out. But they spend 4 months getting ready for that season, which is a week in and week out thing. And look, you bring up ACLs. What about the NBA? Is it worth risking a player tearing an ACL, tearing something else,
Achilles, God forbid,
to finish as the 8th team and get swept in your first round of the playoffs? And you're a team like the Pelicans, you're a team like Minnesota, Memphis, and you're looking to become better the next year, have a better ability to have a higher seeding. Why risk a guy like Ja Morant or Zion Williamson for 15 games to get swept in 4 games and not make the playoffs the next year?
Especially if, let's say, it starts in July, it ends beginning of
October.
August.
It'll end in October.
October. The season starts again in Christmas. It's like, it's right there, and it's not worth all the injuries. I think we made some great points with this conversation. I really definitely enjoyed this. Let's start off with the NFL draft. And unlike the NBA, there's no lottery. So with the NFL draft, we're drafting the 2017 NFL draft, and we're doing the whole first round. Charles has the first pick. Charles will be drafting for the Cleveland Browns. Charles, you're on the clock.
Yeah, look, there's not much time that I need to take to make this pick. He won a Super Bowl this year. He may become the best quarterback to ever play the game, but Patrick Mahomes is getting drafted first overall. Cleveland finally gets a quarterback. Do I care that Myles Garrett isn't there? No, because Myles Garrett honestly shouldn't even be in the top 15 in this draft. So I think that Cleveland finally gets a quarterback, and trust me, he's a lot better than Baker.
Yeah, no, there's no arguing with that. I'm not mad at that pick. Like you said, Patrick Mahomes could go down as arguably the greatest, depending on how some things go. But that guy has proven that he's amazing. I was kind of hoping he would fall a little bit, but I'm glad he didn't, because it makes perfect sense. I have the second pick with the Chicago Bears, and I am on the clock. I am not taking Mitchell Trubisky. They need a quarterback.
The second pick is the 49ers.
Oh, no, the second pick is the Bears, bro. It's from the 49ers.
Do they switch them?
The 49ers picks third.
Gotcha.
That was the trade. Yeah, so I'm with the second pick. I'm going with the second best quarterback in this draft who should have been taken. I'm going with Deshaun Watson. It just shows when he has a good offensive line and a good team behind him, he can win. He's shown that. The Texans are just a horrible, horrible system for him. Bill O'Brien's not a good coach. Matt Nagy has shown he can put together an offense. He has a solid defense. And if he had a quarterback, the Chicago Bears would be winning games. I'm going Deshaun Watson with the second pick. I think that's undeniable. So, Schubert, it's on you, the third pick with the San Francisco 49ers.
Well, San Francisco, John Lynch was looking to build a young defense, and I think the perfect guy for his young defense would be Marshawn Lattimore.
Ooh, interesting. You're not going Myles Garrett?
No, I'm going to go Marshawn Lattimore.
Oh, shit. All right. Interesting. Why Marshawn? Just out of curiosity.
I mean, I think that he's one of the best defensive players available in the draft. At this point, San Francisco hadn't gotten Richard Sherman. They had Eric Reed and Jimmy Ward were their main two defensive backs. They needed a corner. Might as well go for it. At the defensive line already, they had DeForest Buckner and Eric Armstead, so they really didn't need to go for Solomon Thomas that early when they can get someone like Marshawn Lattimore, who's a proven Pro Bowler.
All right, I'm not mad at that pick. That was a shocker, but I ain't mad at it. All right, Charles, you're on the clock with the Jacksonville Jaguars with the fourth pick.
Look, Jacksonville is known for their defense. I think in 2017, you look at what Jacksonville needed at the time, and yes, they drafted a guy like Leonard Fournette, but we see that running backs just don't have that same ability to be as important, as versatile players. Yes, there's some guys that we'll talk about that I think are incredible, but they do both. That's something Leonard Fournette, last year did better catching balls out of the backfield. But if I'm going to draft anyone here, I'm going to look at a receiver. And, people bring up a guy like Juju Smith-Schuster. Leonard was bringing up Cooper Kupp earlier. If I'm going to draft anyone, I'm drafting Chris Godwin. What I saw from Tampa Bay last year is that, look, Mike Evans is a beast. We all know that. But Chris Godwin has a point after last year that he may be the number one receiver in Tampa Bay right now.
Okay. How do you feel about this? Because I don't know if we've gotten your take on this, but how do you feel with you saying that pick, just to take a quick side note, about Tampa Bay, Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and now getting Rob Gronkowski and Tom Brady looking to the next season?
I think Tampa Bay has the most weapons out of any NFL team going into next year. They have two number one receivers, in my opinion. Not only that, they have two number one tight ends. Look, do I think Gronk is going to be old Gronk? Absolutely not. But, I know what O.J. Howard can do, and I think O.J. Howard is going to be their number one tight end. But when you put out, a guy like Gronk in the end zone, it's going to be hard to play defense against a team that's going to have four guys over 6'2", catching balls in the end zone, and especially in red zone situations.
The question is just can 12 get the ball out, and can 12 throw the ball down the field? That's what we're going to have to see. The next pick I have, the Tennessee Titans with number 5. They took Corey Davis, wide receiver, first. I'm going to go with a wide receiver as well for Tennessee, but I'm not going Corey Davis. I will go with Juju Smith-Schuster. I feel that he is the second best wide receiver on the board. And I think for that team, he gives them a number one option that they desperately need. And that's why I'm going with Juju Smith-Schuster. Schubert, at number 6, you have the New York Jets. You are on the clock.
All right. Well, for the New York Jets, they could have really used a quarterback here, but I just don't know if Mitch Trubisky really is a guy that I really want to put on their team. But what I do think they could really use is a great person to block for their crappy quarterbacks and to eventually be there for when Sam Darnold shows up. And that guy is Ryan Ramczyk.
Taking all the Saints' great draft picks. I see, but it makes sense. I'm not mad at that because Ryan Ramczyk is one of the best offensive linemen in the league, if not, in
this draft.
Yeah, exactly. The best. So I'm not mad at it at all. Charles, you are on the clock with the number 7 pick for the Los Angeles Chargers.
Look, Los Angeles, I think that they have a great defense. And like my pick at number 4, it would be easy to go with offense. I think that Los Angeles could really use a tackle, which is why I'm kind of upset that Ryan Ramczyk just got picked. But it's hard for me to look at this draft and not look at a guy like TJ Watt, a guy that has immediate impact off the edge. Yes, look, I think that this defensive line over there is going to be nasty, but TJ Watt made a Pro Bowl, and he just keeps getting better and better. So with my pick at number 7, Los Angeles is going to take TJ Watt.
I'm not mad at that at all. I'm on the clock with number 8, Carolina, and they went offense with Christian McCaffrey. But after looking at their roster, if you look at their defensive end, Charles Johnson, he didn't do too much. Mario Addison, he didn't really do too much either. They need a lot of pressure. They rely a lot on Luke Kuechly, and I feel like if they added to that line, Luke Kuechly maybe still be playing, and he wouldn't have a lot of pressure on him to get to the quarterback and make a lot of plays. I think we let Myles Garrett slip far enough, and I feel like with the number 8 pick for the Carolina Panthers, I'm going with Myles Garrett to solidify that defense and make it stronger. And who knows, maybe if in this reality, Luke Kuechly might not be retired because he had some help in that defense. So I'm going Myles Garrett, number 8 for the Carolina Panthers. Schubert, you're on the clock with the Cincinnati Bengals at number 9.
Just confirming, what receivers do we all take?
The receivers that have been taken are Chris Godwin and Juju Smith-Schuster. Everybody else is available.
All right. Well, with that being said, they picked John Ross here. This is the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
And there's definitely way better receivers in this draft than John Ross, even though I don't hate on John Ross.
John Ross, I think he didn't live up to the development of himself, but he ran a solid 4-2.
He landed with the Bengals.
And that's the thing. With the Bengals, he didn't have a quarterback at the time, but he was dropping balls that year. I remember that very vividly. He was a bust, but he ended up but from the year after to the next year, he grew as a player. So I'm not mad at John Ross. I think he'll be successful with Joe Burrow, but at number 9, I don't know if he was the right pick for them.
Yeah, but for number 9, I'm going to go ahead and get Cooper Kupp.
Okay, solid. He'll be good for when Joe Burrow is there and have 2 solid options with AJ Green. I'm not mad at that. All right, Charles, you're on the clock with number 10, the Kansas City Chiefs.
Kansas City's not drafting here.
Oh,
because Kansas City traded for Pat Mahomes. Pat Mahomes isn't there, right?
Yeah.
So why would they trade above the Saints to get that quarterback? Instead, Buffalo's going to keep their pick, and I have Buffalo going and taking my favorite safety in this draft, and that's Jamal Adams, a guy that's going to fall to number 10. For Buffalo to trade out of that spot, I think would be dumb. They end up getting Tre'Davious White in this pick. Look, London, if you don't draft Tre'Davious White next pick, I'm going to come over to Lafayette right now and slap you. But Buffalo's going to go ahead and take Jamal Adams at number 10. I think this is a home run pick for Buffalo.
It definitely is. And I was going to take, if you were to let him slip, I was going to take Jamal Adams with that next pick for the Saints. And I think you already made my pick for me, and I think it makes a lot of sense. But Tre'Davious White has been one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL. I think he's top 5. He's led that Buffalo defense, and I think for the Saints, if you can't get Marshawn Lattimore or Jamal Adams, you have to take an LSU guy, and not just an LSU guy, but one of the best cornerbacks in the league. And all the Saints fans who are fans of LSU can be happy in this universe because we've taken Tre'Davious White at number 11. So super solid for the Saints to land that guy. Schubert, you're on the clock with number 12, Houston Texans.
So it's Houston Texans?
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
And their quarterback is gone, and they're in shambles.
Yeah, they are pretty
He
much in
He
shambles.
might have to pick Mitch Trubisky.
He might.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pick Mitch Trubisky because if anything is better than Tom Savage.
Oh, and Deshaun Kaiser.
Yeah, I mean, if we're talking the ones in the draft, I mean, I'm definitely not going to draft Deshaun Kaiser. He's at the league now.
Yeah, he is. So you taking Trubisky?
Yeah, I'm going to take Trubisky.
All right, cool. Charles, you're on the clock, number 13 with the Arizona Cardinals.
Look, I think that Arizona has some needs. I think we can all agree with that. I really wanted to take a running back here because I think there's some dynamic running backs, but David Johnson's still in Arizona. So over here with the 13th pick with Arizona, I'm going to go George Kittle. I think that he is a tight end that can impact the game in multiple aspects. And I think George Kittle really in terms of talent is a top 5 to 6 player in this draft. To get him at 13, I think it's a steal.
I'm not mad at that pick because George Kittle is arguably the best tight end in the NFL right now. It's either him or Kelsey, and I like that pick a lot. Next up, I'm with the Eagles, and they took Derek Barnett, and Barnett has been a pretty damn good defensive lineman for them, and he solidifies their line. And he has a total of 14 sacks, 3 forced fumbles, 2 fumble recoveries so far in his career. Man, this is tough. Do I want to go Barnett or do I want to go Jonathan Allen? I'm going to keep their pick of Derek Barnett for the Eagles with number 14.
Makes the Super Bowl winning sack.
Yeah, I know. That's why it's hard for me to not go with him. Schubert, you're on the clock with the Indianapolis Colts, number 15.
And I win the Super Bowl this year. Just saying.
Who, the Eagles?
Yeah.
You think they will?
I don't think they will.
Oh, yeah, I don't think they will.
You can't make that sack.
True. Yeah, without him.
So the next pick is the Colts. They need defensive backs. I actually really like their pick. I think I might just keep it. I mean, Malik Hooker's been a pretty good player for them, and he was the need at the time. So I'm going to keep Malik Hooker.
I'm not mad at that at all. Charles, you are on the clock with the next pick of the Baltimore Ravens.
Yeah, look, I think that the Ravens at this pick, they went and drafted Marlon Humphrey. I think that's still a really good pick. But I think there's a cornerback that's a little bit better. I'm going to go with Desmond King. Desmond King had his first 2 seasons had a really good draft grade. This past season he fell, but he was still 37th out of 114 qualifying cornerbacks. So with the 16th pick, I'm going to go with Desmond King.
I like that pick a lot. And for me, with the 17th pick, with the Washington Redskins, they took Jonathan Allen, but he really didn't do too much for them. And I feel that they need it. I'm going defense here. I can go D-line or I can go cornerback. I'm going to go cornerback just for the fact that I'm taking best player available. And because you just passed on him, I'm going Marlon Humphrey for the Washington Redskins to play alongside Josh Norman and to solidify that defensive the back half of the field. So I'm going Marlon Humphrey for the 17th pick with the Washington Redskins. Schubert, you're on the clock. Tennessee Titans, number 18.
Yeah, I kind of wanted to go there with Humphrey, but who did we take at 6? Who's that? Was that me?
Yep, you took Ryan Ramczyk.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he's gone.
Perfect. That helps immensely because I wanted to go ahead and address the receiver position. And
the Titans, let me say, the Titans are at number 5. I already took a receiver. I took Juju Smith-Schuster.
This is Tampa Bay.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's not the Titans with Adoree Jackson at number 18?
Mm-hmm.
No, are we at 18 or we're
yeah,
not?
We're 18.
Yeah, we're at 18. Schubert's picking for the Titans.
Okay.
Yeah. And at receiver, we didn't take Mike Williams yet.
No, but I'm saying, I'm just telling you at number 5 for the Titans already had a pick. And I took Juju Smith-Schuster. They had the number 5th pick.
Oh, that's right. So, because we switched it.
Yeah.
Oh, I got you.
So I'm just telling you, you could take another wide receiver if you want.
No.
But
that's
one,
fine.
but one was taken.
See, that's what I was making sure. Yeah. So that's why I wanted to go. I wanted to keep on the same Adoree Jackson wave of getting a corner, but I just don't know if he's the best player out there right now. Man, it's a tough.
I'm trying to look at corners for you. There's not many great ones left.
No,
but you have
not
a
really.
safety in Eddie Jackson who's out there.
That is true.
At this point, they have Cyprin and Byard, who are pretty good safeties.
Yeah, Byard's pretty damn good.
Yeah, but in 2017, that's whenever they got Kenny Vaccaro. Or 2018, I think is when they got Kenny Vaccaro.
That is true.
It was either 18 or 19, I don't remember.
They got Derrick Henry already.
And there also is a guy in Marcus Williams that's out there as well.
Yeah, I'm going to lean towards getting Eddie Jackson. Because I think Eddie Jackson kind of fits that Adoree Jackson mold. He was a guy who was a returner in Alabama, same as Adoree Jackson. It kind of gives him an element of speed, and he can play corner and safety.
Okay. I'm not mad at that. All right. So you took Eddie Jackson with the 18th pick. Charles, you're on the clock with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for the 19th pick.
Man, what does Tampa Bay need? Offense, right? Their defense is getting better and better. We've seen that, and we talked about Tampa Bay earlier, saying they have a lot of weapons. Look, they do. They drafted a Chris Godwin, but he's not there anymore, right? So who's the most electrifying player that's still out there? Christian McCaffrey at 19. I think that this is a perfect fit. They don't have a running back. We've seen this Tampa Bay offense struggle immensely with Jameis Winston. Whenever you get a guy like CMC, I think that he can do stuff as a ball carrier, but it can also catch passes out of the backfield. Man, this is going to make Tampa Bay a really hard team to beat.
Yes, it will. I like that pick a lot. For me, I'm on the clock with the Denver Broncos at number 20. They took Garrett Bowles' offensive line, but Garrett Bowles is not on that team anymore. They did not extend his rookie deal. They didn't sign him. He didn't produce. So this is kind of a free pick for me. I'm going to go offense because if you look at the Broncos, I don't think they had a real running back at this point. I know C.J. Anderson, I think, had 1,000 yards, 3 touchdowns that season. But I'm going to upgrade from C.J. Anderson. I'm going to go with the Saints guy that they found, the diamond in the rough, to add explosiveness to that team. And now with Drew Lock and the people that they have, he would look really well in this team in 2020. I'm going Alvin Kamara for the Denver Broncos at pick number 20. All right, Schubert, you're on the clock. 21, Detroit Lions.
I just really think it's funny to stick Dalvin Cook in another NFC North stinker. So go ahead and just stick him up there in Detroit. They need a running back. He's better than Amir Abdullah.
Yes, he is. All right, Charles, you are on the clock with the Miami Dolphins, pick 22.
Now, Miami is a team that could really go anywhere. I think that Miami has so many holes still to this day. Look, I think this is a spot where they could go out and get a tackle. I really like Deion Dawkins and what he's been able to do. His run blocking and pass blocking grades have been good so far through his 3 years as a tackle. I think that Miami could use a tackle here, and they go with Deion Dawkins.
All right, cool. I like that pick. I'm on the clock with the New York Giants, the New York Football Giants, and they took Evan Ingram in this draft. And at this point, I think I'm going to go offensive line because I could go O.J. Howard, but we see that the New York Giants' line just isn't that good. And with Ryan Ramczyk gone, there's only one really great lineman left. I'm going to go Cam Robinson with the 23rd pick with the New York Giants to give them an offensive lineman and allow them to start building that up now, whereas they can get a tight end later in the draft. Schubert, you're on the clock with the Oakland Raiders.
It's time to get another big-time receiver for them. They are having Amari Cooper at this moment, but Seth Roberts hasn't emerged, and Michael Crabtree's fading. Let's bring in Mike Williams.
Ooh, okay, solid. Super, super solid. All right, Charles, you're on the clock with the Cleveland Browns.
Is it Cleveland or is it Houston?
It is because they got the trade from Houston. It's Cleveland.
At 25?
Yeah, 25.
That's Houston.
No, I'm telling you, Houston traded them pick to Cleveland.
25, yeah, it's
Cleveland. Because they take Jabril Peppers.
Okay, well, Jabril Peppers went there, and I think that in this draft, Jabril's not going to be in the first round. I think that this is a spot for Marcus Williams to go. Marcus Williams has been one of the better safeties, one of the better graded safeties. And I think the Saints had one of the best, if not the best drafts in their history. And that's why you have two guys that were drafted and later, third round or later show up in this draft. And I think that's why you have Marcus Williams going to Cleveland at 25.
I think the fact that we've drafted damn near the entire Saints draft already shows how good the 2017 Saints draft class was. I think the 2017 Saints draft really changed the forecast of how the Saints moved going forward after this year. They get Michael Thomas the year before, and then with this draft, you get Kamara, Ramczyk, Michael Williams, and Lattimore. You solidify your team with 4 starters, and I think this is what made you, at least, Charles, let me not speak for you, but I think this is at least what it did. Put your faith in Jeff Ireland and Mickey Loomis because of this draft.
Yeah, absolutely.
100%. All right, I am on the clock now with the Atlanta Falcons. They took Takk McKinley, but Takk McKinley ain't really been doing too much. Shit, man. You already took Kevin King. I think I'm going to go with Malik McDowell with this. Oh, no, Malik McDowell went to jail. Oh, geez, no. Oh, shit. All right. God damn it. Malik McDowell's a baller. Oh, man.
They need a tackle.
They do. They need a defensive tackle. Shit. I think I'll go. This guy's still playing, and I think. Oh, well, no, he got switched around. I was going to say Taco Charlton, but.
I would go Taylor Morton.
Taylor Morton? Where's
starting tackle for the Panthers. He was drafted later, but, didn't get a starting role until second season. But, his last 2 seasons as a pass protector, he's earned high grades in the last 2 years. So I think. All
right, I'm gonna rock with you. I think he helped me out a lot. I think I'm going to go with Taylor Morton with the Atlanta Falcons. I appreciate that help because I did not know where they should go. All right, Schubert, you're on the clock with the Buffalo Bills. They took Tre'Davious White. Oh, yeah, with the Chiefs. Charles, yeah, you're the Chiefs.
So the Chiefs, they end up making a pretty good pick later on in the draft as well, and I'm going to go ahead and just make it now late in the first. And
I know what
Kareem Hunt.
God, you just going straight for running backs. That's it.
he is paying these running backs. I'm not mad at it. All right, Charles, you're on the clock with the Dallas Cowboys.
Look, a guy that Dallas really needs. They need some safety help, as we've seen. But they did draft someone later in this draft. Actually, it was a 6th-round selection in Xavier Woods. I think that he finds the Cowboys as a home, but in the first round this year. I don't think this is a spot where Taco Charlton goes. I think Xavier Woods is a good safety, and he really helps the Cowboys in the situation.
I like it. With the Cleveland Browns, they took David Njoku, and that's my pick. I'll go tight end, but I'm going to go with the best tight end in the damn draft. And because the Cleveland Browns have Pat Mahomes, let's give him some weapons. I'm going O.J. Howard to give him a tight end that he can grow with. And David Njoku has shown that he is not the best pass catcher. He hasn't lived up to the hype that he's had. I'm going O.J. Howard with the 29th pick for the Cleveland Browns. Schubert, you're on the clock with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
I also want to go tight end, and I want to go with the Giants tight end, Evan Ingram.
Oh, I like it. Solid. All right, Charles, you're on the clock, 31st. San Francisco 49ers, who took Reuben Foster and got kind of shit on and made Saints fans happy they didn't take Reuben Foster.
If I'm going to go linebacker here, I think I'm going to go with Jayon Brown. I think he's done really good so far in his career. I think he's done good enough to especially be a first-round pick. With the 49ers needing linebacker help, I think Brown will be a good linebacker to add. He's got really good coverage grade skills. I think that Brown is a good pick here for the 49ers.
All right, solid. And I have the last pick with the New Orleans Saints because Ryan Ramczyk and Cam Robinson is gone, both offensive linemen that they could use. I'm going to actually make another LSU pick because Alvin Kamara is gone, the one running back that the Saints could use, and it would bring a lot of hype. It would bring a lot of fans base. It would sell a lot of tickets, and maybe this guy would do really well under the Sean Payton system. I'm bringing Leonard Fournette to the New Orleans Saints. He falls pretty far, but he finds a solid home in New Orleans. Leonard Fournette for the New Orleans Saints. Final pick.
A running back room full of power backs.
Yeah, man. Look, we'll get rid of who was with us at the. We'll get rid of Mark Ingram
and Peterson.
Yeah, they gotta go. We need a pass catching back, but it'll allow for some good trades. All right, solid.
Does Fournette end up with the Saints this offseason?
That's possible if we don't sign Kamara, because Kamara's gonna want a lot of money, and I don't know if we should pay him. How do you feel about that? Because I always said that when it comes to Ramczyk, Kamara, and Lattimore and Thomas, I never wanted to give Thomas all that money, but because we can't look at that. I think you got to pay Lattimore and Ramczyk, and if Kamara walks, he walks.
Yeah, you let Von Bell walk, which I wasn't a huge fan of.
Me neither.
I think he's a better safety than Marcus Williams, just in my opinion. But look, Marcus Williams is another guy you're going to have to pay. When you go down the road, you've got 2 defensive tackles you have to think about paying this year, and Rankins on Yamada. I think that, Kamara's time as a Saint is probably over.
Yeah.
I think the Saints tried to trade him, and just the running back market isn't there. Maybe he goes and tests the market and comes back with the Saints, because I think that the Saints, have the ability to make him into a better player. But, at the same time, with this being Breeze's last year, and anyone that says it's not his last year is crazy. They just don't know what they're talking about.
I mean, Sean Payton downright said it. So
what? That's his last year? Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, he said it in an interview, yeah.
And then he had to go back and say, yeah.
Yeah.
It's Breeze's last year, guys.
I'm glad you agree with that.
So, with that being said, I think that's the only reason Kamara stays, is because the Saints look to get weapons around a new quarterback, whether it's a guy they draft or whether it's a guy that they bring in that's a free agent, or, maybe Jameis Winston, So with that being said, at the end of the day, I think Kamara's got a good shot to stay, but that's only because Breeze is leaving.
100%. I agree with that. But like we said, if it comes down to him wanting superstar running back money, he's gone, because it's just shown that from Zeke to Todd Gurley, it's just shown when you pay these running backs, it just doesn't work out. It just doesn't. So we'll see how that goes. Let's go to the 2015 NBA draft, our final redraft of the day. Charles has the first pick with the Minnesota Timberwolves.
Look, I think that Minnesota drafted a really good guy in Karl Anthony Towns. It's really hard to go away from him, right? But, if I'm looking at this Minnesota team, what does Minnesota need? They need someone that can take this team and be a difference maker. And I think this is a surprise for some people here, but I'm going to go ahead and take Devin Booker, one overall.
Oh, my gosh. I was going to take Devin Booker with the Lakers.
I know you were.
That was going to – oh, man. Put him with LeBron and AD. We were winning a championship. Fuck. God. That just ruined my whole shit. All right. Cool. Whatever. Solid. I love that pick, because that was going to be my pick. All right. Second pick, D'Angelo Russell. It was taken by the Lakers. Am I going to go with D'Angelo? Oh, man. Oh, shit. They end up trading him. Like, all these pieces that they get for this trades. I'm trying to think of who would make it in the past. You know what? Because I'm not taking Karl Anthony Towns here, because that makes no sense. Well, he could play center. AD could play 4. Yeah, you know what? I'm going to go Karl Anthony Towns second with the Lakers. I'm going to go
I was about to say, are you crazy?
Yeah, I'm going to go Karl Anthony Towns. I was trying to convince myself of Porzingis, but I don't think Porzingis and AD pair well. So, but all right, Trubich on the clock, number 3 with the Philadelphia 76ers.
Oh, well, I'm not going to go with Joel Okafor, as much as I like the guy. But I will just go ahead and, they're going to get Embiid eventually, so I want to stay away from getting, like, a center. And there's a center that I really would want to get for them. But I'll just go ahead and get Porzingis.
Solid. Should Porzingis and Embiid and Ben Simmons, that's a big-ass team, but they might do some damage. All right, Charles, you're on the clock with the New York Knicks.
I'm trading my pick away, and I'm not drafting anybody.
Might as well be good. Like that you might have saved their career.
There's a pick that you should make, though, for New York.
I think there's 2 guys you could go here. I think if there's someone that Lyndon thinks I should take, it's probably D'Angelo Russell, because I think that then it would be good for the Knicks to get that. Look, he made his career in Brooklyn. But if I'm looking at making a franchise better, I'm taking Miles Turner.
Ooh, all right.
See, that was who I wanted to get at third
The Knicks,
pick, but
the
it
Knicks
was just
players will boo GM Charles Reese because D'Angelo Russell is not.
Hey, guess what? If I'm the GM, I'm making a ton of money, so I don't care.
All right, I'm next up with the Orlando Magic. And look, Orlando took Mario Hezonja, another small forward. They do not need any more fucking small forwards, power forwards, or centers. They have a stock. Get a guard now. I'm going D'Angelo Russell with the Orlando Magic. We don't have to get Fultz later down the line and have to worry about that. You put D'Angelo Russell with Evan Fournier, Vucevic, Aaron Gordon. That's a playoff team. I'm going D'Angelo Russell with the Orlando Magic. And I think we see him blossom because in the Lakers, we just know how big of the big market affects some of these guys. And I just feel like in Orlando, he would have a home and he could be potentially a career guy for them and have his career go the right way and him actually develop into that guy we saw in Brooklyn a lot earlier than we did. So I'm going D'Angelo Russell with the Orlando Magic. Schubert on the clock with the Sacramento Kings.
Sacramento Kings, huh? Well, they got Willie Cauley-Stein. Their team is terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, they have Rondo at this time, but I mean, it's the Kings Rondo. I mean, what Rondo was that? The terrible one. They got Rudy Gay, who at this point is aged and terrible. DeMarcus Cousins. So I don't even know why they got Cauley-Stein. I'm going to go with Larry Nance Jr.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Ooh.
That's out of nowhere. Larry Nance. Okay. Cool.
All right, Kelly Oubre.
Oh, you going Kelly Oubre next with
that's it.
with Denver?
Move on.
All right, cool. I'm not mad at that. All right, for me next with I have the Pistons, and the Pistons could go for anybody. We're not taking Stanley Johnson though. I'll go with Terry Rozier here for the Detroit Pistons at number 8. Charles, you're on the clock. Oh no, Schubert, you're on the clock with the Charlotte.
No, I got it. Charlotte. So I'm making MJ's pick.
Yeah.
And what trash decision did he make this time?
He took Frank Kaminsky. After
Not
that,
a terrible pick.
After that,
it's not a terrible pick. I mean, he had to make it that pick in that year.
Yep.
So they have Batum. They have Kemba. They have Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna pick like Michael, then you might as well pick Jaleel.
Because he would have definitely taken him.
Yeah, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take Jaleel.
All right, Charles,
bring him to the hometown.
Charles, you're on the clock with the Miami Heat.
Miami in this pick takes Justin Winslow. Guess what? I'm taking Justice Winslow.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I'm not mad at it. All right, I got the Indiana Pacers. They took a center here, and with Miles Turner being gone, I'm trying to see the other centers that would be.
You want me to help? Because if you don't pick Montrezl Harrell here.
Oh, I didn't even know Montrezl was in this draft. Oh, shit.
Yeah, that's what I was going to to pick until you guys convinced me.
Cool. Hell yeah. I'm going to go with Montrezl Harrell because I was going to take Willie Hernan-Gomez and think I made a smart pick. But, all right, cool. Yeah, I'm going Montrezl Harrell. Solid. Super solid. All right. Schubert, you're on the clock with the Utah Jazz.
Yeah, they picked Trey Lyles. They also got Neto in this draft. So it was a really bad draft for them. They hadn't emerged yet. They have Trey Burke, Rodney Hood, Joe Ingles, Young, Gordon Hayward, and Derek Favors, Rudy Gobert. I think you could really just kind of put anyone in there, but I'll go ahead and say Josh Richardson.
Hard. I like that pick.
I do like that pick.
There's two guys. Josh was one of those. There's another guy that I'm looking at that should go up early. I like that pick as well. All right, Charles, you're on the clock with the Phoenix Suns, who took Devin Booker.
Oof. Yeah, they got a really good pick in Devin Booker, and it's crazy because the Phoenix Suns usually are towards the top of the draft, and that's probably the best pick they've had in the past 5 years.
Big thanks.
With that being said, look, I don't think Larry Nance is a terrible pick here. I think
Schubert already took him.
I took him.
Oh, you took Larry Nance already.
Yeah, that's where you went, ooh.
Oh, I did do that. I forgot. Forgot why I did that. I'll go with Norman Powell.
All right, solid.
All right.
There's another guy, let's see, that I was thinking of. Is it OKC? I'm gonna take him now. They took Cameron Payne. This is KD list. KD's still here, but he's getting ready to leave soon. I'm gonna add depth to that team, and I'm gonna draft Pat Connaughton to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and I think that solidifies that team and adds another shooter. It gives depth. It's way better than their pick of Cameron Payne. Jesus Christ. All right, Schubert, you're on the clock with Kelly Oubre, and then Charles will have the last pick with the Boston Celtics.
Obviously, the guards for Washington are great. So I'm going to go someone on the low post. Let's do Bobby Portis.
Yeah, that's the name I just scrolled over. That was like, oh, he's still here? Bobby Portis. Yeah. He's in the draft. All right, Charles, you're the final pick with the Boston Celtics. Terry Rozier is gone. Which way are you going?
I really want to draft Kevin Looney, but I'm not going to.
Oh, that's a smart pick.
I'm going to draft Rondé Hollis Jefferson here.
I'm going to ask this. You like Rondé over Cedi Osman?
I do.
Okay.
I do. I don't think Cedi Osman's a top 20 guy in this draft.
No.
I'm not mad at that. Rondé Hollis.
I mean, do you seriously want to talk about, do you not remember the bet that we had about Cedi Osman?
I do.
Are you serious? Wait, Justin, when you watch this, you owe me $100 still.
Left, I mean, you could have gone left. Let me just say some of the people left for Quinn Cook, Royce O'Neal.
I just don't think Quinn Cook has look, when you go with an NBA draft, you're talking about undrafted guys, which we had 3 or 4 in here. You talk about guys in the second round that end up having a bigger impact. And look, the NBA, if anything, is one of the most interesting things to redraft that first round. There's only 2 rounds, right? Yeah. And there's not that many guys that can have impact on rosters. And if you look what we did in the top 16 picks, all those guys have a spot to start. They could start on those teams. If you're going to bring up a guy like Quinn Cook, in my opinion, that guy is a backup point guard on some teams.
Role player.
And not even a role player. I don't even think he's a backup point guard on the Warriors after Steph comes back and they're at full strength. I don't think he has a spot in that roster. The Pelicans, I think, had a good thing going with him, but they kind of made him into who he was. And then he went and joined a roster that was already loaded, and was able to get some good minutes with, 2 All-Stars on the floor whenever he was running with the second team. So, look, Quinn Cook is a second-round guy, but he's not getting drafted by me in the first round.
I'm not mad at it at all. You make great points. And like you said, some of the guys fell. Emmanuel Mudiay, Willie Cauley-Stein, Stanley Johnson. That's the best thing I think about redrafting this NBA draft, because it's you see the chances that some of these people take, but a lot of the misses, man. I don't get what I think New York was smart with Porzingis, but if you look at Philly with Okafor, Orlando with Mario Hezonja,
Okafor at the time was not a bad pick.
It wasn't.
By any means. I mean, you're talking about a guy that Okafor, in some people's opinion, fell.
Yeah.
Did anyone think Devin Booker was going to turn out to what he was? Absolutely not.
And because of the NBA change that we have with the Warriors coming out, going from big ball to small ball, you make a good point.
And look, if there's any league, MLB drafts really aren't talked about much. It's usually NFL and NBA. But if there's any league that has the most misses when it comes to drafts, it's the NBA. Yeah. And why? It's because you have the one and done. I think if you had guys that played 3 years, and this is a discussion for another day, but if you had a 3-year limit on guys coming into the NBA, I guarantee you would not have the misses that you do. And yet the NBA wants to keep pushing for guys not even having to go to college. I mean, come on, guys. Do you still want to continue to make your rosters look terrible? Because you're doing a good job of it. Because if you look at the NBA, there are a lot of good guys in the NBA and on today's rosters that are good after their 3rd or 4th season, because it takes that much time for their bodies to mature, grow, and get the strength to play at the NBA and play that 82-game season, plus the playoffs.
And if you look at the guys that aren't picked high, not the one-and-dones, the guys that you take some of the later rounds and some of the later picks, like Klay Thompson, he wasn't a one-and-done. You look at Dame, you look at freaking Giannis and Kawhi, some of these later picks in the teens. We even said Devin Booker. It just shows
if there's anything, the NBA has a scouting problem.
Yeah, facts.
They don't know how to evaluate talent when it comes to the NBA. Yeah, look, your top 5 guys are pretty much usual locks, But even in this draft, I mean, you look at what we did in the top 5, Karl Anthony Towns is there. D'Angelo Russell is there. Jahlil Okafor is not. Porzingis is there. So 3 of the top 5 we have still there, right? Which to me it's just kind of crazy because you just look at that year's draft and, 3 of those top 5 are important players. But, I think you could even switch one of those guys out and say only 2 of the top 5 really belong there.
True. And then you look at a guy like you said with Montrezl Harrell, who was picked so low, but it just shows how much of an impact that type of guy has on a team and how conducive he is to winning compared to some of these top 5 guys.
Now, how big of a concern is this NBA draft, with
huge,
not knowing all the question marks about it? I mean, I feel like usually you could, if the tournament didn't happen, maybe you would assess some players that aren't overrated. But now I think they needed the tournament at this point because I just don't know if there's enough.
This is going to be a weird NBA draft because really there aren't clear-cut number 1 players.
Not at all.
If there was anything about this year's college basketball season, it was that there wasn't a favorite. Any team could win. Look, I really liked LSU's chances of making a run in the tournament just because they had some veteran leadership that thought they could do something. It's something that we were planning to talk about before coronavirus started. And you look at this year's draft, not only does it affect the NBA for next year, but it's going to affect college programs. And guys, I mean, I cover LSU, so I know what I'm talking about when it comes to those guys. Guys like Javonte Smart, guys like, Emmett Williams is leaving, but he has no business in my opinion.
Yeah, those dudes need to stay.
Darius Days is probably going to come back, but if there's a March Madness run for him, they're going to see his ability to shoot the ball, play defense, and play down low on the post. And a guy like Trendon Watford, I saw him progress so much in the season. Without that March Madness, with such a late draft process, they're talking about running the NBA draft process in August. If that happens, a guy like Trendon Watford probably comes back, and you're looking at not only college baseball, it's something we've been talking about of having the best college baseball season in terms of talent of all time. You're going to have maybe the best NBA talent-wise of all time next year.
And that's something like I think with the NCAA tournament that we needed because there's guys like Cole Anthony, for example, who needed to play in that tournament to show where he's at. I think that's a guy that needs to come back, even though he's a highly touted recruit. He's going to go. But without this tournament, you see it's going to be a lot more misses than hits, I think, with this NBA draft. It's going to be interesting to see coming up soon. But that's all the time we have today. Charles, tell the people where they can find you on social media.
Personal Twitter is at Crease30, CREES30. But follow the Primetime Podcast as look, recruiting's coming up. Josh and I have been talking about getting some things going as well as with Blake as we look to see what's going to happen this year. So follow the Primetime Podcast at primetime_pod as we look to get LSU podcast going again.
Yeah, they've been keeping us up to date with the recruiting on the Twitter. Y'all make sure y'all go follow them over there and get ready for the pods when they come back. Schubert, where can they find you at on social media?
You can find me on Twitter and Instagram at aschubert14 and also listen to the Bros Who Binge podcast on Mondays. Well, Wednesday this week.
Yeah. So, yeah.
But yeah, next week we're going to have a lot of fun stuff to talk about.
A lot of stuff, as well as we're still reviewing Avatar: The Last Airbenders. These episodes are really, really good and really foreshadow what's coming up in the series, and it's going to be nice to look at the themes of these upcoming episodes.
I think it's time to have a Bros Who Think, Bros Who Binge episode, and we can all talk about what we've been binging during quarantine, because I've got a ton of
You can come on and talk with us. You can come on this week. We ain't got shit to do.
Hey, we've been watching Little Fires Everywhere. We got to finish.
Is that good?
Oh,
I've heard it's good.
Oh, well, come on this week. We'll talk about it. Hell yeah. Well, all right. You can follow me at BWT. Follow Bros Who Think at Bros Who Think. Tomorrow, when you guys hear this at 9:00, me and Crystal will be doing our live on Instagram, where you guys can come in, ask us questions about anime. We got a lot of good stuff to talk about. Be sure to check out the most recent episode of #AnimeTalk. Be sure to check out the most recent episode of Bros Who Binge. But for all information on all the pods throughout the network, follow us at Bros Who Think on Twitter. Be sure to subscribe to Apple Podcasts, Spotify, leave a comment. But we're on YouTube now. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube page, Bros Who Think Network. But other than that, that's all the time we have this week. For Charles, for Schubert, for Brooklyn, for Doom, my name is Lyndon Burton. You guys have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Thursday. Until then, be safe and peace.